that's okay. You and I are locked into our destiny, and that's okay. And that's okay. You gotta know what you want. You gotta know what you want. You gotta know what you want. Look out. You gotta know what you want. Look out. You gotta know what you want. You gotta know what you want. Our predetermined nonsense have predetermined consequence. You and that's okay. You and predetermined nonsense. Look out. You gotta know that's okay. You gotta know what you want. You gotta You and I are locked into our destiny, and that's okay. And that's okay. Nothing seems to go right. Melodies don't sound right. It's true. Days disappear. Shadows remain plainly clear. The door opens, and the fizzing in my beer slows. The door opens as it slows. I see a shade of something moving like a blanket in the wind. A pretty little blanket, perfect to heal me in May end. The door opens, and the fizzing in my beer slows. She walks by, and the spinning in my head head grows. The door opens as it slows. I wish that I was pretty, more pretty than reflections look tonight. But I'm past the point of caring. It's time to make a moment. Let's not make a moment. This shouldn't be a moment. The door opens and the fizzing in my beer slows. She walks by, the spinning in my head grows. When the door opens and the fizzing in my beer slows, as she walks by, oh, she walks by, the spinning in my head grows. Watch it go. The door opens and it slows. Closing sale, everything must go, nothing left behind, no wild oats to sow. It's out of my way, I'm done now. You see, you took the meat, but not my bones. Now throw away your key. One foot out the door, persistent. You are frozen in time. Oh, I love you slips out of my mind. So sail, set sail, a little bird. Just go and set sail. Set sail, set sail, a little bird. Just go and set sail. I'll take my ship away as the storm rolls in. I hope the wind is with me, and I hope you've learned that the pirate within me is sworn to the truth. Live or die by this rule. Something old and something new is the treasure within me. As sad as it seems, you will come to know what it all means to me. Set sail, set sail, little bird. Just go and set sail. Set sail, set sail, little bird. You just go now and set sail. Some pictures and some memories, ones I can't forget, on the crest of my black heart. You best not forget that the pirate never loses. He always collects one way or another. Now you can clear up all your regrets of the time you set sail with that pirate from the sky. You'll remember him until that day that you die. Set sail, little bird. Now come on, just set sail. Set sail, little bird. Now I want you to set sail. Set sail, oh, little bird. Now I want you to set sail. Don't forget to lose your mind tonight. Just watch me. Hello. Don't you think about responsibilities. Just feel what you want. Feel what you want tonight. I want you to say how you feel. I want you to tell me I'm no good. We'll send you on your way if you say so. You try to, but you see me staring back at you. I'm staring back at you. So have another dance with me, my dear. Move your hips like this. It's clear I'm what you need as a tear falls down. I want you to say how you feel. I want you to tell me I'm no good. Well, don't you look back, you will miss me. Don't look back, I'm standing under the street light at night. Don't you look back, try to forget. Yeah. So just walk to me, my dear. Look inside me, and it's clear I'm a better man than him. I'm a better man than him. Then time stops. I want you to say how you feel. I want you to tell me I'm no good. Well, don't you look back, you will miss me. Don't look back, I'm standing under the street light at night. Don't you look back, try to forget. Yeah. So just walk to me, my dear. Look inside me, and it's clear I'm a better man than him. I'm a better man than him. Then time stops. ability this time, just to touch the water and swing through the trees. Home is at memory away. Take me home. Take me home. Take me home. Take me home. Come to think of it, I've never felt so free. My tunes are a blaring, consuming that mountain breeze. Makes me so grateful to be alive. Home is a memory away. Take me home. 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 Please take me home. Come on. Please take me home. Please take me
All right, folks, we are live with another Pangburn Hangout. We're back. We are using the backup laptop today. I hope it doesn't crash on us. But yeah, it should be okay. Let me jump in the room here.
Right? Yeah.
Oh, of course, they're already going at it. How's it going, guys?
What was that, Travis?
I was just saying,
Hey,
of course,
yeah.
they're already going at it.
Yeah, we are.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought this is the
We were
end of
just
the
talking
live
about
hangouts.
like Elon a little bit. No, we just started ours.
Elon Musk.
We're just getting
he's
started,
great.
oh bloke.
Okay. Well, we're back. We're live. Today's topic, what makes an idea stupid? We need to sort this out. Now, I think
First, don't you know what you mean by the word stupid?
it depends on what you mean by the word stupid. But I think we need to talk about this in two different ways. An idea that relates to objective reality and an idea that relates to subjective things. So I think we need to differentiate between those two things, or else we're going to get fucked up. So one thing to get this started, I would say, 2 seconds. What is this popping up? Oh no, I think we're fine. When we're looking at the question, what makes an idea stupid? I would say in the objective realm, in the realm of what is going on in reality, I would say a lack of scientific consideration would make an idea stupid. Now, let's talk about that realm for a bit. Do you guys agree?
Yeah.
Do you disagree?
Actually, yes, because I would say, but it doesn't affirm that it's not stupid. Actually, something is not deemed stupid until it's evaluated and then deemed to be stupid or smart and correct. So like science or the method of testing has to occur before a claim is made about the idea, right?
So
Like we couldn't say an idea
No.
on its face is stupid necessarily.
well, what
No.
if someone says like if you come across, and here's where I want to get at. I want to get at the meat of this, like kind of the social media meat. When we're scrolling through our social media feeds and someone posts something that's just so ignorant and stupid, like something relating to the evidence for flat Earth, it's like what are the reasons why we think that's stupid? I would say
We've already
this
done the testing up to there.
Yeah, sure.
I-
Yeah, go ahead, Grim.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Could you say is willingly ignoring equivalent or superior evidence to counter?
Do you think though, Grim, that they're willingly ignoring it, or are they, or are they simply just in a sea of ignorance? Like they don't understand how the proofs apply to the
Yeah, I would-
spherical Earth claims.
I would consider
Well,
ignorance as ignoring too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'd say with flat earthers, they don't even willfully ignore it. They'll embrace it, but they will, like information about satellites or whatever, but then they will artificially put that into the conspiracy theory as further proof that they're correct. For example,
Yeah.
these photos of Earth, they never show the whole Earth. Well, therefore, they're artificial. Well, the scientific explanation is if you're too close to a sphere, you can't get the whole thing in the picture. But they will use real facts and incorporate it into conspiracy theory, and in their mind, it makes it stronger.
Right.
Yeah,
So-
I've debated two flat earthers, and it's just you'll give them a counter argument and go, well, that's not the case because of this evidence, and it'll be a complete negation. Be like, well, I don't believe it, or well, I heard. It's like they use these fallacies, like, well, I heard this other YouTube video kind of beat that, but then it's about like most flat earthers, for example, it's hard to explain. Or the flat earthers say, I only believe with my eyes. Okay, you only believe with your eyes. The Earth is flat. Okay, how does the sun work? Well, if you look at a hallway and the light gets farther and farther away, then it looks like the horizon beats it. And I go, yes, but to do that, would you agree that the sun would have to get smaller and smaller until the light fades away? Yes, I would agree to that. Okay, have you witnessed that with your own eyes? And the counter argument to that was, no, but I saw some YouTube videos on it.
So that's with their own eyes. Yeah. The proper term for this is ad hoc explanations.
Correct.
And I find that like the things that are in that world where you're talking about brute facts or things that are already assumed in consensus of all by all already need no entertainment. Like they're deemed stupid because they're not entertained at all.
Mm.
Right.
When something is not addressed at all because of its absurdity, or whatever you decide, whatever society or consensus has decided, it no longer gets any attention and deserves any attention. And that to me would be the stupid idea.
Yeah.
Because some
The
ideas
only,
could prove to, well, I was going to say some ideas could prove prove useful regardless of their truthfulness. And so they may even yield quality results. Because if you're going to say an idea has to yield quality results or something desirable, well, some ideas can do that, not directly, indirectly. And in that case, maybe it wasn't a stupid idea. It was a useful idea that provided some utility because the idea itself had indirect uses.
Well, that's a really
or
good
causes.
That's a really good segue into if an idea is utterly fallacious, ignorant, not demonstrated, but being believed as true, yet it serves, let's say positive well-being utility, is it still stupid? Would you claim someone is being stupid if they're walking around with that thing?
It ain't stupid if it works.
What did Gump say? Stupid is as stupid does.
Yeah, stupid is as stupid does.
No,
And
it
you
can be
also
dumb
can't-
if it works.
Problem is you have either dogmatic or you can't teach stupid.
So
That's a
here,
problem.
so I asked this question to YouTube. Let's get a quick take here. We got some interesting comments. The poll question was, what generally makes an idea stupid? The options I gave were logical fallaciousness, which is currently in the lead with 48% of the votes. There's 108 votes in so far. I posted an hour ago. Lack of supporting proof is in second with 36%. Lack of meaning. So that was an option I gave. It has 12% of the vote. So what generally makes an idea stupid? 12% have said lack of meaning, and then there's 4% other. Let's read some of the comments here. Leon Levy says ideas are formed often before the proof is there. Lack of proof isn't sufficient to make an idea, quote, stupid. That would just make it not developed or conclusive. Fallaciousness, I think, makes an idea more by definition stupid. So what do you guys think of logical fallaciousness as a prerequisite for stupidity?
I think so.
So what exactly is logical fallaciousness? Is that when you think that it worked this way in reality?
No,
it
logic,
didn't.
you got to just Google logical fallacies, Nivik. So argument from authority, fallacy,
Credulity.
argument from ignorance, incredulity.
No
There's
true
a lot.
Scot, no true Scotsman,
fallacy. So these
false
logical
dichotomy.
like these logical structures we've come up with based on consistent relation in reality are kind of our map to what is logical, right? So maybe logical fallaciousness is what we ought look to see if something's stupid. But someone who is Christian like Bruce may say that I think Bruce outlined that if it's got enough utility, maybe it's not stupid if it is fallacious. If you're engaging in the argument from ignorance fallacy, like I'm not saying Bruce does, but a lot of God believers do, where they say, I just can't see how something can come from nothing or some kind of claim like that, and because they can't imagine it, that's the argument from ignorance fallacy.
That's an argument from incredulity. I don't know how it could be that way, so therefore it can't be. But to your Bruce's point of what seems like pragmatic usefulness, it makes me think of like Cypher in the Matrix, where he's like, plug me back in. I know this isn't steak, but ignorance is bliss.
Yeah, so that's
like,
a good example. We can talk about whether Cypher is stupid there.
Exactly. And some people are like, listen, there's so much information, things could work out, but if it works for me and my stupid way of doing it, not calling Bruce stupid or anybody, I'm just talking about the argument. If it works, and I do this for other stuff too, like don't get me wrong, I don't need to apply the ultimate research and understanding and how to do something as long as it pragmatically works for me, and I don't give a fuck about the consequences.
Right. So let's get some
this
other
reminds
voices
me-
here. Yeah, go ahead, ZMO.
This reminds me of the Brett Weinstein phrase that doesn't get enough due credit. The metaphorically true. Help me out here. Help me finish the sentence. What does he say?
Well, so
actually, objectively false, but metaphorically true.
yeah, so
Wow.
this, a lot of people would object to this, saying that truth ought not be confused with your truth and my truth. That's what metaphorical truth is essentially getting at, and I think it's a bastardization of what truth actually means. Truth ought to be used in the epistemological sense, I believe.
Yeah,
You either trade yourself for some consensus of individuals, or you have an objective truth.
Right.
Truth. What's true or not is what comports to reality, and is only about a proposition. There's nothing you can eat. You can't eat truth. You can't throw truth. You can't feel truth. It is an abstract concept about what comports to reality in a subjective point of view, or possibly objective if you want to argue the point, but it is something that is completely only about a proposition. And when people speak of a truth, like it's almost tangible, And it is held in religious circles, like, hey, look at the truth, and there's a truth, or I am the truth. Like, it's just, it's just there's like no concrete understanding about that, because it's like, well, true and false is just abstract, what comports to reality based off a proposition. What's the proposition, and then we can find out what is truth and false. But if you take out the whole proposition side of it, I don't even know what truth even means anymore.
Right.
If you
If that made sense.
No, that makes sense. You have to have a claim before you can make a is claim. You have to have a hypothesis to begin with. Is that what you're getting at?
Oh.
What do you? Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Nick, what do you think? What makes an idea stupid?
Well, I believe like it's a lot of things are perception in what a person think is right or not right. Meaning that what I'm getting at is I could come across something or one and just destroy it, or attack that person, and at the end of the day, I'm alive, I'm standing, I'm here. So in a way, it wasn't necessarily a dumb thing, because through potential of me doing that, I more likely was able, my existence, it was more guaranteed, in me attacking somebody out of potential of fear of them being a threat. But I'm saying that it could be a potential wrong in your well-being, because potentially it could have worked out in a way where it was less beneficial for you in the long run. Maybe you could have aligned with the person in a way that could have benefited you down the road, that maybe would have saved your life. Who knows? But you made an ignorant act of attacking something or one out of fear of what you don't understand because it's beyond your understanding, and you just out of not thinking rational, you just thought through your emotions of a potential threat, and you just destroyed that thing or that person.
Okay, now take all of that you just said and simplify it as if you need to get what you just said through to a child who's 10 or 12.
In one line.
They're different degrees of gain in being right.
Yeah, you lost them. You lost the 10 or 12-year-old there. Try again, please.
Okay. You can gain more in the way you're going about something, in how you think it is beneficial.
We'll come back to you.
You could have went about it another way that could have been more beneficial.
And so I think let me try to sum up kind of what Nivik's saying is, you're talking about just theories in general, Nivik, and let's say like we discovered like a scientific truth that we need to walk half the population into the ocean in order to feed ourselves in 20 years. But maybe we shouldn't do that and try to find an ulterior like way of doing it, even though the theory is sound and it says, but seriously, we need to walk everybody in half the population in the ocean. But instead, we're going to find a solution that works, that we don't have to do that and cause suffering and cause those problems. So we'll come up with a different type of way using science as well.
Okay,
you're
so
kind
now,
of saying like
So when the if it worked comment that was made, then it's it's not a bad idea. Isn't true. It could have been a bad idea relative to a better way.
Okay, now let's jump over so we can get some examples rolling on the other side, on the ought side. When you see someone engaging in what you think is a stupid ought, someone thinks that it's a good idea to kill themselves, and you think that's a stupid idea. Why do you think that's a stupid idea?
Because it's not productive.
And
It
why
is productive
is
for
being
them.
productive not a stupid idea? Or
You need
yeah,
to be productive and have progress in something. And
can you start
and
that again, Claire? I didn't get the start of what you were saying.
I think that, we should have. I think everybody would like to be productive, and for like talking and having ideas. I think the ideas should be productive and progressive, not hindering that progression.
Right. So you would see like someone killing themselves a hindrance to their progression. Would that be your argument to them, and why it's stupid to kill yourself?
Yeah, it wouldn't be. I mean, it just kind of doesn't do anything to help any of the situation. It just hinders the situation more. Because when they kill themselves, like everybody around them that knew them is sad, and it just kind of, it's not like, doesn't help.
Now,
Can I jump in?
yes,
I would
Srijan,
counter that
I
and
wanted
say-
to ask you, Srijan, what makes an idea stupid? Feel free to deal with the ought or the is.
So stupid dictionary definition is anything that lacks common sense. So a stupid idea would be any idea that lacks common sense. Now, common sense could be defined differently among different people, but the idea of suicide, in some circumstances, would not be a stupid idea. Consider Socrates, for example, a very popular example. He killed himself, but that probably wasn't a very stupid idea, because for him at least, right? Because he wanted to make his ideals before him, so he killed himself. So that's not a very stupid idea, and I think most would agree that he stood up for his principles and stuff like that. So suicide wasn't a stupid idea at that time, but in some circumstances like depression or anxiety, suicide might be considered a stupid idea, even though the person doing that doesn't know that, right? But in many circumstances, suicide is not a very stupid idea. Consider terminal illness. So I think it's the part that common sense is defined differently among different people that makes some ideas stupider to some, but very progressive to others.
And now, who else? Archangel, same question to you. What makes an idea stupid? And we'll eventually open this up, guys. So save your points if you wanted to engage in something someone said.
I'd probably go with what Sir John said as just lacking common sense. I don't really know how much more to elaborate on it.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, Gelbrecht, what's your answer to this dilemma? What makes an idea stupid?
Yeah, that's I think that's a pretty big question. I'm eating candy at the moment, so Anna just got here, so I think I'm just gonna be silent for a few minutes.
Yeah,
but I'll jump in later.
No worries. And just because you're kind of new here, I think just feel free to jump in whenever you feel you want to say something. Dao Tzu,
Yeah, sure. Thanks.
what makes an idea stupid? Hit us with it, Dal. I know you got something.
Well, my mama always said that
Mama always
stupid
said.
is, stupid does. And I gotta say that I think that rings true. And I tend to say that an idea to be inherently stupid would have to be something that, if carried out as intentioned, would limit the intelligibility or the amount of ideas in the future. So
Right. So I think
if you have the
go
idea
ahead.
to nuke the world to save people from being immoral, then that's a stupid idea, because you're literally destroying all knowledge,
Right,
and preventing any.
Yeah, 100%. And so everyone's going to have to engage with their moral foundation in order to answer the ought side of this. Now, what about the is side, Dal, when we're talking about what is going on in reality? My answer to this would be a lack of scientific consideration. Say with flat earthers are engaging in a lack of scientific consideration, I would say. And that's why I call that idea stupid. And what do you think about that?
I agree with. I think I'd come at it from a different angle because
You
I'd
never
almost
use my
say,
angle. Jesus, man.
I know. Well, I went from it from the east. Like they didn't have the word skepticism. They had like non-attachment. But I think what was the question again? Shit.
I don't know. I threw you off. Just I was just asking what you thought about me claiming, like when we're talking about what is going on in reality, if I'm identifying a stupid idea, like if someone comes with flat Earth theory or hypothesis, and I would say that that's a stupid idea for lack of scientific consideration.
Yeah, I guess I would say it's stupid once you start claiming it over all like other ideas. So it might be good to try to map out a reality where everything is actually flat despite all of the other information that we know or can say to know. It might even be good to come up with conspiracy theories because you never know what that might lead to, but it becomes stupid once you start saying, Hillary Clinton is a lizard person,
right?
Instead of Hillary Clinton might be a lizard person.
Look,
I think
that's all. I'm saying it's stupid to adopt a positive belief in that thing in that realm.
Yeah,
like it's fine to dabble in flat Earth hypothesis just to see what's going on and see if there's anything to it. But in the end, if you haven't done sufficient or if you believe it is true in the end, you have not done, and I would argue this, you have not done a reasonable or enough scientific consideration there, Oh, and by the way, everyone, please use the live text on YouTube. We are live at the Pangburn Offensive channel. Please engage in that text. That when this does eventually get published, and we do publish highlights and things like that, the text itself is published as well. So I want to make sure we get your guys' comments out there so people can actually see them when this is published. Anyways, let's open this up a little bit. Anything any of you heard that you want to challenge, take to task? Any common stupid ideas you see going around? Like Bruce, I'm sure there's some things that you come across on social media where you're just like, that is retarded.
Oh, well, like the idea that we must have equity of outcome regardless of any other merit. I find that to be a stupid idea. The idea of throwing out merit for the sake of some ordered outcome is not that dissimilar from the idea of like walking half people into the ocean so that we can get a good outcome. It's literally throwing the baby out with the bathwater.
Right. So you feel you have good reasons to claim that is a stupid idea. And then if someone came at you and said, well, I think your position is stupid because you don't want this.
Yeah, sure.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So the ought stuff is very much up for grabs with that kind of stuff. The ought conversations become very, very much based on people's moral outlook.
Yeah, usually. The thing I always appeal to when people would tell me they have some ought standard, I usually ask them by what standard? And if the standard is consensus, then the world has agreed to throw half the population into the ocean. Now that's the standard. I guess you must deal with that standard. And I would say that is largely problematic in a consensus-based objective moral standard. So that sort of thing. But I mean, this isn't a discussion about that, so I don't want to necessarily derail it.
Yeah, no, I think we will examine some ideas that we all think are stupid. Does anyone in the room think that believing in flat Earth hypothesis isn't stupid?
I don't think it's stupid.
No.
Let's ask. Is it stupid? Is it stupid to believe it? And also, is it a stupid idea on its own?
No, it's not. It's a good idea.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Okay.
It's
I can say
it's an
why.
idea like any other. Yeah.
Let's
I
hear
can
the
explain
argument.
What you got,
why.
Nivik?
Go ahead, Nimit.
A lot of folks in the past, they think, well, this thing that was done, positivity. Okay. You can look at bad outcomes and see the wrong in it and learn a lot from it. That's pretty much where I'm going from. I'm gonna spare you the story.
So you're
I
saying
actually have a really. Oh, go
you're
ahead.
saying that these when people present these ideas that are cloaked with or are just like consumed with scientific ignorance, it's it's a good idea because of how that will affect the ideological zeitgeist.
No, how it's bad. You can learn from things that are bad.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
can
it's the same
suffer.
reasoning.
You can suffer. You can go through pain. You can see like the danger in it, the absurdity in it, and you can be like, you know what, we have to start educating our people more. We need to make sure this type of thinking, we got to do what we have to do to push back on it. It will give a good response. It will give a good response.
And
I
do
would
you
say
need those failures in order to teach that, Nivik? And then we'll go to Graham.
No, you do not. And that's the thing. You argue to people like that, hey, instead of doing things the hard way and learning hard lessons, it's better to just be objectively factual and logical in your reasoning and growing your knowledge and growing your rationalization and not having to go through the hard route. But sometimes, you kind of have to in comparison, of course it's not better. It's a dumb idea in comparison to do things the hard way, but it's still you get lessons learned from it. So I mean, all ideas it's relative to if it being dumb or not. Because I mean, an idea is dumb compared to what,
Okay.
As the alternative, and you might have a dumber alternative or a better one.
Thanks, Nivik. I wanna get Eliyahu in. Eliyahu, what makes an idea stupid?
If I don't agree with it.
if Sky Daddy's involved.
No, I think that God has some good ideas, depending on what God you're talking about.
Do you believe in God?
I do, but I don't think
that's weird. God. You just said I.
Nivik,
I
that means you're God.
Nivik, hang on. It's Eliyahu's turn. We'll get back to you.
Okay, the God that I believe in, I don't like it. It doesn't affect how I live my life, so it doesn't. It's not like a personal God.
You already triggered Nivik, and you've been here for 1 minute. Eliyahu. So yeah, honestly, what makes an idea stupid?
What makes an idea stupid?
And just to give you a little bit of heads up, we obviously have to deal with this in the ought realm and in the is realm. So we've talked about a little bit about like flat Earth theory in the realm of what is going on in reality. A lot of people would call that a stupid idea.
Usually, I feel like these come in the form of people who don't need to check people, like the ideas that sound really good and like they don't need to be checked against what actually happens.
Right.
Like they don't, like they a lot of times stupid ideas. They're ideas that sound really attractive, but and so because they sound attractive, they win. They have to like triumph over reality, even though they can't.
Of showing something like that exists as an example.
Well, I'd say with communism, it's not even about foresight; it's about hindsight.
You're looking at your own ass. I'm just kidding.
There are no stupid questions, just stupid people.
If that hindsight isn't enough, then
Let me jump in. Sorry, I'm just having a little bit of connection issues here. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Don, what makes an idea stupid? Hopefully.
Well,
oh yeah,
I'm here, guys. What's up? Sorry, it took me a second to get to the
no worries.
Demute button. I think a stupid idea is an idea that is espoused that upon second reflection, or like upon the second you do it, afterwards you're like, oh, that was a dumb idea. That was a stupid idea. How did I not think this one step forward and realize this was just a total noob move? I think that's what people mean by a stupid idea. Like,
so like any kind of like endless rationalization that you will take to get laid. So like, oh, bro, your keys, you left your keys. No, oh, no, that's fine. Or like, oh, your wallet is in the. Oh, no, that's fine. It's fine. And then as soon as you, get laid, then all the common sense starts rushing back in.
Yeah, how I know Joe Rogan calls this post-cum clarity.
It's called the refractory period, if you want to know the technical term.
Right. So basically, I think it's a good analogy to exactly what I'm talking about.
Well, but your analogy fails at suicide. What do you do then? Oh shit! I killed myself. What now?
So
right? Or like, you ever played a move in chess and like your queen, you're like, why am I such an idiot? What a stupid move. What a stupid idea. And I think we all understand that. We all understand that, and it's hard to like give a good definition for it. But I think this operative definition applies to anything anyone would call a stupid idea.
Killing myself was a stupid idea.
Let's check in with Bruno. Bruno, do you echo a lot of what Don said? Do you disagree, or how do you determine what is a stupid idea?
I would say I definitely agree. I think stupid idea would be an idea that doesn't factor all, like, well, not all. You can't possibly factor all possible variables, but a stupid idea is an idea that reduces causation of any two events to just one variable and says, hey man, this is the only reason why this happens. I think it would be a stupid idea. And if we can get rid of B that causes A, we can get rid of A. So I think.
Okay, let's open this up a little bit.
Any type of, like, Bruno, any type of affirming the consequent, where it's like, oh, A therefore B, B therefore A is a stupid idea.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah, I would say. Yeah, affirming the consequent. I would agree 100%.
Now let's get into some commonly held, common ideas that people think are not stupid. Like let's pick the low hanging fruit of star signs. I mean, there are a lot of people that think that using your star sign to dictate choices in your life is not stupid. And I would call that stupid due to a lack of scientific consideration.
Yes. But I think that, like, a lot of people don't really believe it in the sense that, like, if you sit down and talk to them one-on-one, they like really water it down a lot. They're like, oh, but come on, like the moon, and there's moon cycles, and so don't you think that, like, and I'm like, yeah, but the moon is not astrology.
But I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about the people that are like, okay, I'm only gonna date the Taurus because my sign, like, they might be missing, like seriously, I've sat down with people in the 21st century, sitting down at a Boston Pizza, sitting across from me, being like, yeah, I don't date an Aries.
Can you imagine that? You're like, I only date Tauruses, date a Taurus, get kidnapped. Wow, that was a stupid idea.
I only date Tauri.
I only date Tauruses because they got big old bold dicks.
Do they?
I'd like to point out. Pangburn, that you never. I'd like to point out, Pangburn, that you never asked me.
Oh, okay, yeah.
What I think is stupid idea.
I don't want to hear from you because I'm racist. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
If y'all would indulge me just a little bit, I have a little bit written down here. And
Oh, hell yeah, of course.
okay, all right. This is what I wrote. An idea is stupid when it isn't tethered to reality in any meaningful sense, when there is no burden of the falsification principle that people use to determine if something is right or wrong. A stupid idea is an idea that springs into the ether with little to no consideration, and rationalizations around that idea can occur without ever establishing a foundation in the first place. Trump would often do this. He would say something without thinking, then instead of saying, "Oh, I said that wrong, that's incorrect," or etc., he would just double down upon the idea because he's stuck with it, and his ego would not allow for him to ever be wrong. An idea is only as stupid as the people that hold it, because a more intelligent or self-aware person can say stupid things all the time. They can be wrong in a drastic way, yet when presented with a counter-argument or reality itself comes crashing down upon them, said person, they will let the bad, stupid idea go because it isn't tied to their ego. And they have been schooled in the ways of logic, skepticism, debate, and the scientific method, which puts a great emphasis and reward for you updating your false and bad ideas and discarding and denouncing them. The ethic is tied to the integrity of the ideas, not the person. And if you're in a room with a lot of smart people that notice you're committing the cardinal sin of clinging to falsified ideas, the red flag will immediately go up. An idea is supremely stupid when it isn't tethered to reality, which is what you run into when you're wrong, and it has a negative behavioral consequence. Having the idea that you are Peter Parker could be a good thing. If you act out the archetypal hero, you might work out and eat healthy, not commit crime, become a journalist, and write a wonderful piece in the Times about arachnids. On the other hand, you could jump off a fifth-story window with your palms facing with your palms facing towards Trump Tower, expecting to shoot sticky webs out of your arms in the hope of having a little Spider-Man bungee jump session. This, I will say with some confidence, is a stupid idea. Thus, in closing, a stupid idea is an idea that is not beholden to reality. The scientific method is not logically consistent. It's not willing to be updated. And I'd like to point out that some ideas have this safety valve built into them, like a Kafka trap or the Salem witch trial is how they would determine to be a witch, so on and so forth. And finally, and most importantly, the idea has negative real-life behavioral and psychological consequences that are observable, measurable, and statistically significant. Example would be the Nazis proclaiming themselves the master race, thus giving them carte blanche on the rest of humanity. And who would have thought a whale? Oh, never mind. That's it. That's all I
ZMO,
got.
I have to say I really enjoyed that, and I would love to publish it as an article at the War of Ideas if you want to send it to me. If you were the author.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really
yeah.
good insight.
I want to give you
Thank you.
credit too. If you want your actual name on it, just DM me your actual name, or I can just use ZMO, whatever you want. But that's great.
I appreciate it a lot.
May I actually critique it a little bit?
Yeah. And I
go
also want to say, whenever someone says negative, positive, I want to know by what metric you mean. But go ahead, Don.
Are you then just saying that to say a stupid idea is the same as to say a bad or ill-formed idea, or just an idea that isn't true? Is that what you're saying? That you're simply redefining stupid to mean not true? Or not in accordance with reality?
In one aspect, yes, and in other aspects, no.
So in what aspect, no?
Well, like in the ought statements, things could be metaphorically false, but they could, work out in your favor. And, stupid ideas, people hold stupid ideas all the time, but I'm more concerned with, when they actually have a behavioral impact on people and they make them act in irrational ways that they otherwise wouldn't. So I think a stupid idea and a bad idea, there is a distinction there, but it's a distinction without much of
an idea that's not in accordance with reality.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can I have a response too?
So I would say my main criticism that I feel I love what you said and I agree with it wholeheartedly, but I think that you simply redefined stupid idea into something else and explain what that other thing was.
Okay.
Yeah, I think.
I think
Yeah, go ahead, Srijan.
go.
No, it's all you.
I think therefore I am. So I think I think a stupid idea and a bad idea, the main difference is that a stupid idea lacks common sense and a bad idea may not lack common sense. There might be some sense to it, but to that person, it might be just a bad idea. A stupid idea has to hold, like from an objective point of view, we have to look at. So, like anything that lacks common sense as an objective point of view should be considered a stupid idea. And
Okay.
although there would be like what ZMO said about like Spider-Man and stuff, and that could easily be considered under the lack of common sense, right? So like God, for example, lack of common sense. Yeah.
Well, then a question
I
for you,
don't think-
Srijan.
I don't think-
Yeah, go ahead, Bruno.
I just wanted to say I don't think the proposition of God can be categorized as a stupid idea because it's extremely rational and logical to think that way.
That's exactly what I was just going to bring up and ask Srijan if he thinks that a positive belief in gods would fall into the category of stupid idea.
No, I'm saying in this like a kind of in a objective point of view, it lacks common sense, for example, because anything that it does not have any proof, right? Therefore, it lacks common sense. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like it's not like anything that lacks proof is lacks common sense too. But for some people, it might be considered that it lacks common sense.
Yeah, and
that's what I was saying.
also in a defense of you, Srijan, probably when we're talking about common sense, the majority of this the human apes on this planet might consider a positive belief in God to be common sense. That it's like well, that it's how could you not believe in God? It's common sense, So if we're talking about things in that loosely, that colloquially, perhaps that would support what Srijan is saying.
Like consider this, right? I was talking with my driver, I think in last year, right? So we were chatting about not believing in God, and he said, "Why don't you believe in God? It's so common sense, right? If God is not there, then why does the sky fall? Right? He thinks the sky is solid. So,
Yeah, how does the moon get
Yeah,
there?
man, that's funny.
no, that would be a better, how the hell one can think that the sky is solid? Like, can't you see clouds?
That's funny. So would you say the sky solid thing is stupid idea?
It lacks common sense.
Does it lack
Yeah,
common sense? Well, you see,
right
I mean, you
now,
see
I think
planes
stupid
flying.
idea
And,
should be subjective because, like, right now, what would be considered a stupid idea, just such as bloodletting, would not be a stupid idea for doctors in 1776.
right. Well, and this is why I thought it's important to separate the objective from the subjective. Put those two things into two different categories when we're talking about stupidity, because your presuppositions are going to fuel your presuppositions that inform your moral foundation are going to essentially be your metric for things that you find stupid on the outside. But then you're going to get over to what is going on in reality, and you can make some objective statements about it's stupid to believe that the fundamental particle, or let's say that strings in string theory are made of cheese. Like a positive belief that they are made of cheese. Like, wouldn't you say that that's a stupid idea? And yeah, go ahead.
Well, I think some things are not as simple. Like people don't understand some things as easily as they should.
Or
like
an elephant is
consider,
made of cheese.
Yeah, or even
like where we can
the
say
movie
objectively
Ant-Man.
that that's not the case, right?
Yeah, or even the movie Ant-Man,
Right. Sure.
because like the guy literally transforms himself into a smaller than an oxygen molecule. So how does he breathe then?
Right.
Air
So
is
it's
bigger than
yeah.
oxygen.
We can
How does
definitely
he
go
breathe?
through. We can definitely go through films and lay out the stupid idea from a is perspective, and then look at the odd as well. Jolly, Jolly, I want to ask
Hi.
you what makes an idea stupid.
Well, I think a few things. First things first, if an idea is demonstrably logically fallacious, it appears to me I would call it stupid.
So it's interesting that you bring that up, because in our poll that's going on right now on the main Pangburn YouTube page, I'm just refreshing here, but logical fallaciousness was the first option I gave, and that's kind of leading with flying colors right now.
Yeah, because it sounds like a common sense thing to say. If something is demonstrably fallacious, how can you take it as a valid, let's say? But one thing I wanted to add to the conversation, I think we should differentiate between the idea being stupid and the fact of holding the idea being stupid.
Yeah, and we've talked about that a bit. We've talked about the difference between holding a positive belief in that idea or the belief itself, or the structure of the idea itself being stupid. But yeah, go ahead. This is
Because
interesting.
when you talked about the strings in string theory being made of cheese, holding that as a positive belief is obviously stupid, because presumably you have no support for this claim. But yet, is the idea stupid? Yeah, it is in this specific case, but it can be the case that the idea is not inherently stupid. It is, it doesn't contain an logical absurdity, and it has some support with scientific knowledge or whatever, and yet it is not supported well enough for it to be good idea to hold it positively.
Yeah. Okay. I want to. Yeah, that's interesting. I want to open this up. Does anyone have anything for Jolly on that?
I would say it's the same criticism I have towards ZMO, where I feel like you're just defining stupid as either fallacious, or you're defining it as incongruent with reality or has no demonstration, and that's a stupid idea, rather than actually explaining what is meant by stupid and what people mean it when they say stupid.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we could sort of, if we're going to like narrow down the semantics, we could define stupid idea in the terms of in the context in which the word stupid is defined. So I think stupid is defined as lacking common sense. Essentially, it's like a basic definition of stupid. So if we're going to define what a stupid idea is, I think the integration, I think Sojan is actually quite spot on. The integration of lack of common sense into the definition of what a stupid idea is would be quite useful.
Can I say something? I think it's kind of relative, because and there could be an idea compared to it that is dumber or better in comparison. It's really degrees, and where if you're too ignorant and understanding, so you just what you come across you destroy, and who you come across you kill. It as a potential threat. Based on what you are, that might not be as dumb. Because the things that you fear could be a potential danger.
I'm not exactly
like you. I was just going to say, like, with your point, Nivik, I think it'd be like the flat Earth thing. So you're saying that the idea that the Earth is flat is a stupid idea, but the idea that the Earth is like some weird oval is like a really elongated oval isn't as stupid, but it's still a stupid idea. But relative, it's not as stupid.
No, I'm saying if
as flat
something's
Earth.
beyond
So,
you, it might be. If something's beyond you and you can't manage it, getting rid of it might not be dumb.
Yeah, but this I just wanted to reply to what Nivik said earlier. You're right, stupidity is relative, but we're not talking about the relativity of stupid ideas. We're just talking about if an idea is stupid, right?
All things are relative.
Yeah,
Yeah, and also I wouldn't agree with the definition of stupid idea. That the stupid idea is the idea that lacks common sense. Because, well, would you now, in light of this definition, would you say that that quantum dynamics is stupid?
I don't know anything about quantum dynamics, so I can't answer that.
Yeah, but for all we know, it is more or less scientific consensus that it works, and the quantum theories, more or less, to the extent of our understanding, accurately describe what's going on in the universe. And then again, that they very much lack common sense in many ways. They contradict what we would expect by using just common sense.
I can't answer that because I don't know what you're talking about. So I can't answer that because I don't know anything about quantum dynamics.
Okay.
But for me, it's so.
Use another example.
You can use another example if you've got another one. But with GMO's definition, so the idea that the Earth is flat isn't a stupid idea. Oh, it's a bad idea, I think, right? Because it's common sensual, I think, to think the Earth is flat because you don't see an oval. When you look, you see you can. If it was of course it's a curve, but if you don't see how do I say this? You feel as if you're on flat ground anywhere you are. So there is no reason to think it's round and whatnot. I think it's a bad idea and it's a stupid idea. So
it's a stupid idea in it's not a stupid idea in its nascent form, in its original form. It's actually a logical idea. But
it's
in
also
the light
true
of
in certain length scales.
Right, but in the light of modern scientific knowledge, it would be deemed a stupid idea, I think we could say. And one thing I'll say about the flat Earth, that like on this YouTube channel Jubilee, they have flat earthers versus scientists, and one of the best takedowns of the flat Earth was a very simple one. He said, we can predict with our models that use round orbs of planets, we can predict things with an eclipse will happen at 412 in South Carolina, blah, blah, blah. When you can come back to me with a model of the flat Earth that can predict things just as good or better, then we'll talk. But until then, it's a bad idea.
100%.
I think we should be arguing the opposite perspective of that idea in a comparison, because it could be a dumber idea or it could be another one that is more reasonable.
The thought just struck me that if we are considering the idea, the stupidity of an idea within the framework of an individual person, we should always look at it based on the person's knowledge, of course. Say, if we have a lock in a door that functions in a way that's sort of counterintuitive. In most cases, when the how is it? When the door opens to the left, you lock it to the right. Yeah, but there are some twisted locks which you have to rotate the key inside the lock to the left in order to lock the door, which is counterintuitive. But when you approach the door and you have no knowledge of the lock functioning like that counterintuitively, It is a solid idea to try to lock the door, rotating the key to the right, clockwise, let's say. But if you have the knowledge of the nature of the lock in that door, it is a stupid idea to try to lock the door, rotating the key to the right.
Yeah, so you
Yeah,
just
that's a good.
you just made my point for me because maybe we're in a I just want to say, so in your example, you've used common knowledge, right? And I said common sense. Now, I believe that for you to apply common sense, there is a presupposition that there is common knowledge, because then you can't have common sense, right? So, you sort of made the point, and I suppose we're in agreement. I don't know, but
Did I?
I think so. Yeah, because you
You,
just acknowledged common knowledge, and I'm saying you can't have common sense without common knowledge. So
yeah,
the
yeah,
presupposition,
but sometimes there is other there's a knowledge of other nature which contradicts the common sense or the common knowledge, and the knowledge of the other nature is the valid one.
could you explain that a bit further, perhaps with an example?
Okay, let's get back to the door and the lock example. You approach the door, and the common sense thing would be to rotate the key to the right in order to lock the door. But let's assume you possess the knowledge that the lock functions in a way that you have to turn it to the left in order to lock it, counterintuitively. So the
Hold
common
on,
if
just
you
hold on right there. I just want to get something straight. So
okay.
it's common sense to turn the key to the right,
Yeah, it
but
is common
the
sense.
individual in this example holds the knowledge that in this particular lock you're supposed to turn the key to the left,
Yeah.
right? Okay, all right. So
So
carry on. All done. So finish. Sorry.
yeah, that's my point. The individual knows that you should turn the key inside the lock to the left in order to lock it, um, which is in contradiction with the common sense. Because when you look at the door, it would intuitively appear to you that you should rotate the key to the right in order to lock it.
Right. Good. And you're right about that. But you see, in this case, the individual possesses an extra layer of knowledge, right? Which is, I know this particular lock turns to the
Yeah,
left.
but wait a second. If we define a stupid idea in a way that a stupid idea is an idea which lacks common sense, which is not intact with common sense, you shouldn't. You should call the idea to turn the key to the left a stupid idea because it's in
Wow.
contradiction with common sense.
Right. Now, I would oppose to that because in your example, there's an exception. I suppose I would call this an exception to the rule. Maybe I'm playing semantics here with definitions, but I would call that an exception to the rule because if the individual did not know or had no knowledge about the particular lock, that this particular lock,
Yeah.
you're supposed to turn it to the left, they would have applied common sense, which is turn it to the right. So,
Yeah, yes, and that's my very point. If they didn't know about the nature of the lock, the idea to turn the key to the right would be a valid one, not a stupid idea.
yes, but that's what I'm saying your example is an exception to the rule, I think, anyways, because they hold a knowledge that is not common, right? So,
Isn't it so that if I can find an exception to your definition doesn't really work?
It's not so definitions aren't universal. Definitions are crafted in a way to not be too narrow and not be too
Yeah,
broad. Not to be narrow in the sense
exactly.
that it doesn't incorporate what it's trying to define, and not too broad in the sense that it incorporates what it's not trying to define. And in my case, you're trying to tell me that it incorporates what I'm not trying to define. And I'm saying that it doesn't because there's an exception in that. Perhaps my definition wasn't. There are lots of presuppositions that we may need to take apart, but there's an exception to the rule, which is this individual possesses knowledge that is not common sense. So that knowledge supersedes or succeeds the knowledge of common sense, right? So in that case, you can't really apply the property of it being a stupid idea because there is it's like an outlier in my perspective, but I'd like to get others, what other people think about this.
I think a stupid idea with a key is if you have say you have a little bit of knowledge of how keys work. If I go up to the house, I put the key in the lock, and then I knock on the door and stand there. That'd be a stupid idea. Turning it to the right or to the left. Turning it to the right or to the left is, I do that all the time by mistake. I don't even think about that type of thing. So
by mistake.
I think I'll say one more thing. I think y'all are in much more agreement than y'all think y'all are.
I think what's messing us up is the like relativity of common sense. Just because, it wouldn't be common sense to know to twist the lock a specific direction necessarily, but it would be common sense to know that if you had prior knowledge that you should turn it that direction. So it's kind of like this weird loop where you can add to common sense and then say that, it was common sense. And I think that's what we've been doing as a species for a very long time.
Yeah. I think
so Jolly... isn't the whole analogy over the lock was about if this is common to him, then for him the other way is a stupid idea, right?
Is it even an idea, though?
So I think with Jolly's example, I think he was like... we presuppose that it's in that particular example, it's common sense to turn it to the right. That was sort of...
That's the assumption.
It would be common sense under, just what we would know. But then if you add more sense to it, basically, in this scenario, in something this small where we're not actually learning anything new, I don't think it actually adds or takes away from common sense, because it would still be common sense to turn it the other direction. It would always be included in common sense to attempt the next thing, or to obviously
to attempt the next thing is something else. We're talking about the first attempt.
Guys, I want to take a moment to get Amy in here. Amy, the question of the day is, what makes an idea stupid?
Yeah, and I just posted, there are no stupid ideas. And as I was listening to the key in the door thing, I was asking if that was even an idea, and maybe that's what you guys were trying to get at in your discussion about common sense.
Well, how about a stupid idea of is it a stupid idea to chop off a child's finger every time they make a mistake?
I don't know. I think it's an evil idea, a purposeless evil idea.
Well, I guess
would you say it's...
what makes an idea stupid? What's your definition of stupid?
Well, I think the common sense, I think it needs to be like the person who does it actually contains this common sense and is aware of it, and upon doing it, or even if they do it and they mess up, it's a stupid idea because this is something that you should have clearly known.
Is it stupid, or is that stupid, or is that a morality or judgment issue? I think it's just, I'm wondering if this is a philosophical conversation or a conversation about ideas, or, what are you trying to get at?
Amy, it's just simply what the question that's being asked. That's what the conversation
is. This is my struggle.
Amy's saying it depends.
No, she claimed that there are no stupid ideas. Now, does someone have a stupid idea to offer to Amy?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead, Don.
Yeah, but
you're cutting with a sharp knife, and you don't curl your thumb behind your fingers and you're trying to chop fast and cool, and then you nick your thumb. That's you deciding not the idea of like not doing that. That was a stupid idea. Why didn't I not even think of this? What a dumb idea it was for me to leave my thumb hanging out there,
You
thinking that
learned
nothing was going
something
to
from
happen.
it, but you gained knowledge.
Yeah, but then it's no longer. But the idea, what I did was still stupid.
But you could gain knowledge by But you could gain that same knowledge by seeing someone else having their finger chopped off, and they say it fucking sucks. Don't do it.
Yeah, but then you make that
But-
mistake. Yeah, right. So
You know,
then
You don't even have to watch someone chop his finger off to gain that knowledge. You can derive it from, the knowledge that knives are sharp and the knowledge that knives can chop off fingers. And
Perhaps there's another example. Since we got Don in the room, and I know he's passionate about it. Don, is it stupid to not get a vaccine? A COVID-19 vaccine.
No.
Is it stupid to not get a COVID? Personally, I think yeah. I think it's against all common sense. But
Okay. There's my
personally,
answer.
right? I think it personally. I think it's a
Yeah. So Don,
But I
that's
think-
Don's
Dan.
position. Amy, do you think that that is a stupid
look at you.
thing to do? Is it?
Yeah, I think
is
it's stupid to get one. So how about that? I'll play along, and then. But yet, you guys are going to expect me to defend my position that I don't need approval for. But I can make that claim to play along. Although I don't tend to judge anything.
But
you're
Amy,
putting yourself in a bad spot,
Amy.
Amy.
Amy, didn't you come in
Yeah.
saying that there are no stupid ideas, and so but you would say that that's a stupid idea.
I just that's what I just
You're
said is,
misstepping, Amy.
talking over me is that I don't really.
No, I don't think she is. She's just using.
she is.
Can I finish?
Yeah, go ahead.
She's just using two different sets of assumptions while saying those two sentences. When she says, correct me if I'm wrong, Amy, of course, but I suppose when you say that there are no stupid ideas, you're talking purely philosophically and like deeply philosophically. When you remove all assumptions, there really are no stupid ideas. But if you have some assumptions that we all share, and it is sensible to talk, to conversate, to debate based on those assumptions, there are starting to be some ideas that are stupid and some that are not. And when talking about a COVID-19 vaccine, she's obviously incorporating some assumptions, for example, that we should strive towards our own health.
Well, yeah, let's let her answer, and we don't have to extrapolate.
Yeah, I'm
so
sorry.
much.
I was trying to listen to what he was saying while also listening to my son complain about his sister stealing something of his. But that's why I kind of qualified by saying I'll play along and agree that that's stupid. Like, I really don't use that word. I don't judge anything is stupid, and I think with the vaccine, like I can play along and assert that that's something I wouldn't do, but I wouldn't even judge it as stupid because I understand why other people think otherwise.
Yeah, Bruno.
And
go
so
ahead.
I really, I'm playing along.
But the thing is, are they flawed in thinking
Jolly,
otherwise?
let Bruno go. Thanks.
So, like, Amy, this isn't about you really can't not judge. It's you have to judge at some level, but it's just you definitely have come across a lot of things in your life that you have thought to be stupid things to have, stupid things people have indulged in, right? So,
But maybe it's the case that I have looked at my own stupid things and have found, like grace in there or like wisdom in there, and so I,
that doesn't
perhaps
matter,
don't
right?
judge things as stupid.
Yeah,
Because there's always a different perspective, and I, call me naive, but you can choose to have a perspective that sees that which you used to like judge as stupid, and you can see it otherwise, and it behooves you to explore other perspectives. And
Yeah,
You
so
know?
like,
I actually
try.
think I agree
We're
with
not
you a lot,
like,
Amy.
Can I
we're
ask
not
Amy
like.
one question
I
after
want
you
to
get
ask her
done?
a question too.
I
Oh
just want to
God.
finish up just quickly, guys. Just
Yeah.
2 seconds.
Yeah.
Just like we're not like sort of saying, "Oh, that's stupid," and sort of judge. I mean, we are judgmental, but we're not judgmental in like, in the negative sense. And we're saying you can't learn anything from it. You learn things from every experience, right? That's not the point. We're just saying, do you think any ideas are stupid, regardless of if you learn from them or not? If you judge, or like, that's not relevant right now. It's just, do you think any ideas are stupid? That's all.
I mean, I guess then, if I'm just posed that question, I would say no, just because there's not anything that comes to my mind. And yeah, I jumped on Don's, the whole vaccine, because I knew where Pangburn was going with that too, trying to stir up some controversy. But, I really, there's not something that comes to my mind that I can immediately think of as a stupid idea. And I guess I try to avoid that. And so, yeah, I mean, yeah, I can sit here for the next hour and try to come up with something, but why?
Amy, when I point out something like that, I'm not trying to stir up controversy. I'm giving an actual real world example of where you and someone else may disagree whether something's stupid or not.
Yeah, well, then I think I clarified by saying that I don't call that stupid. Like I laughed and
Can I
I
ask
said I
you a
was playing
question?
along. I do not call that stupid if I'm being honest. So
I
it's not a
think
stupid
that
idea.
Go ahead, Zemo. Sorry.
Yeah, I just want to ask. I think first off, I think you're selling yourself short, saying, "Oh, I can't come up with a stupid idea." I mean, I think that I just don't think you're thinking hard enough about that, to be quite honest with you. But let me ask you. Let me ask you this. Okay, do you think it is a stupid idea to call ideas stupid?
Oh, brilliant. No. Well, hang on. Let me think. No. No.
Okay. Well, at least you're consistent.
That's brilliant, though. I'm
I try.
weird, but maybe I mean, really, like I don't. I really
I
don't
don't think
judge
you are
much.
being consistent.
Like I'm discerning, but I'm really not judgmental in a really weird, consistent way.
You just judged Dan's vaccine, so
Yeah.
No.
Yes, but she backed off.
Okay, I think I corrected myself and I said if I'm really being honest, it's not stupid. I made that clear. And when I said it was stupid, I prefaced it by saying I would play along while I was laughing saying it. So sure, you trapped me there, or you can believe me when I said that if I'm honest with myself, I would not call that stupid.
all right, I'll give you an example. Under the assumption that the person in this example has the knowledge of gravity, and I'm not talking about in its sophisticated manner, just the basic, anything I'm going to drop is going to fall to the ground, just basic sort of idea of gravity. Do you think it's a stupid idea for that same person to go to the top of the Empire State Building and just drop and he says, well, I'm sure nothing's going to happen to me. I'm just going to drop and I'll be fine, land on my feet, continue on a casual stroll. Do you think that's a stupid idea, given that they know about?
Well, I guess I'd wonder, yes, it sounds foolish, but I guess I'd have to ask him more questions about that, because if he's asserting that he doesn't think anything will happen, then it's just flawed logic. And does that make an idea stupid? I don't know.
I actually find myself in agreement with you, Amy, because if the person did know how gravity works, and for some reason, as he's falling, he goes, "Wow, that was a stupid idea. I know how gravity works." I would say that person then made a stupid idea, which brings me to something that I've noticed from this conversation, that it seems that stupidity is dependent upon the subject interpreting their own idea,
Yeah.
rather than
Yeah,
a type of objective way of this is what makes an idea stupid.
Well, that's
Not
yeah. I was going to say
necessarily.
that's obvious. It seems to me that's obvious because I don't
Right?
think that there's any, at least in most of the conversations here, there is no objective truth to find. There's no objective moral ought. There's no objective standard outside of consensus, and so if the consensus isn't common and the person doesn't possess common sense outside their own autonomy, it's impossible for them to be held to a standard that would call their situation stupid outside of their own reasoning. Even if there was reasoning to say otherwise, it wouldn't necessarily be the case for them because it's relative. See, and that to me, I would say that there are objectively stupid things, but I don't hold to the idea that there's a moral subjectivity or even logical subjectivity. So I would find that it's going to be very difficult for people to ever make a claim that something is objectively stupid in most of these contexts of these conversations.
I'm having trouble following.
Yeah, but this is the thing, Bruce. We're operating under the assumption that there is common sense, right? I think that's the standard. I think we all agreed. I'm not sure. I think it was with Jolly that common sense is sort of
Falls apart logically, though, because you must have common knowledge that exists outside of yourself. It does not exist in the consensus of individuals.
You guys, is it stupid on a math test when you understand basic addition? If the question is 1 + 1 equals, and you give an answer of elephant, when you understand,
I think that's dissociated.
That
not even stupid.
You wouldn't call that stupid. And
I would call it dissociated.
Let me further clarify, though. The person
It depends solely on your
the
goal.
person knows that they're going to get it wrong on the test.
That's
Yeah, maybe that's their goal.
Do you think that's stupid or just
I would say no.
I would call that a
You're
stupid.
presupposing.
Okay, Don.
You're presupposing that they.
So, Amy, that's not a presupposition; it's a hypothetical. I'm giving any.
You're
traits
assuming
I
he
want.
wants to do well on the test.
Yes, I'm
No, it doesn't
willing
matter.
to
Even
give
if he
that
doesn't,
trait.
even if he doesn't want to do well on the test.
Yeah.
Even if your goal is not to do well on the test,
So,
that's
Don,
a pretty stupid thing.
you
to
think
do.
that's a stupid idea, right?
Yeah, especially if the person knows within their common sense that this is like unwarranted, it doesn't even add up to math, right? Like I'm taking this test, like I might as well do 2 + 2 = 4. For me to write elephant, like whatever your goal here is, it's a pretty stupid thing to do, especially if it's against that own person's own sense of common sense. Yeah, of course.
Wait, even if the goal of this person is to just, let's say, make fun of the teacher, then you think it's a stupid idea to answer the question of 1 + 1 with elephant?
Yeah, because 1 + 1 isn't elephant. It doesn't
It
matter.
isn't, but
He
yeah, it
succeeds
isn't.
at. He
It
succeeds at
isn't,
something.
but his goal is
He's
to
definitely not making the teacher look stupid.
Like the goal
Right,
isn't
whatever his
important.
goal might be here, it's definitely not to make the teacher look stupid.
Like let's imagine.
And if that is your goal,
Yeah.
and you think that's the way to move forward, and you do it, and then the teacher doesn't look stupid, you look stupid. Well, that's a stupid idea.
Okay.
Okay, maybe that was.
He's a genius.
Like it doesn't matter. Like
Maybe
for me,
this
it doesn't
topic is a
matter.
stupid idea.
Amy,
Like
We can just assume.
follow the rules,
topic is a
please.
stupid idea.
Oh.
all right, like for me, it's not even like it doesn't matter if he wants to make fun of whatever teacher, whatever, right? It's 1 + 1 is an elephant, right? So it's a stupid idea. Like
It isn't, but sometimes it's not your goal to be right.
Yeah, but like that doesn't matter, right? Like, right, catch this. You've seen like there are lots of like internet prank videos, right, where people like do like things, and this is where you get into the realm of stupidity for most people when you watch internet videos of like pranksters or just people trying dumb stuff, like, right? And then the goal is to make you like laugh or whatever, but you still call it stupid, right? So it's the same thing with the example where Travis brought up the math student.
But we defined stupid earlier based on common sense. So I feel like
Yeah,
we're having these dueling perspectives of stupid, one where it doesn't correlate with truth and the other one where it doesn't correlate with our knowledge at the moment, basically.
Yeah, it's common sense, at least. And Travis brought up the assumption that it's common sense to the student that 1 + 1 is 2, right? That was a given.
I gave
So-
that.
Is
I
it-
gave that in this in the hypothetical.
Yeah, in the hypothetical. So it doesn't really matter what the student knows. That's the wrong answer.
So
He knows
you
what
guys,
he's doing.
another. Just think of how many simple examples there are. If a guy says, "I want my heart to be healthy, so I'm going to shoot myself in the heart," is that a stupid idea?
It is, because his goal is to be healthy.
Right. So there. There's
And
another
it contradicts his goal.
Now, anyone,
Yeah, but in the
and then that would be a
in-
question for Amy. Does she think that's a stupid idea to shoot yourself with a gun in the heart if your goal is to have a healthy heart?
Sure. I mean, I guess I struggle with the word stupid. It's illogical.
Why?
You know,
Why is it illogical?
because the outcome is in opposition to your alleged goal.
But he is wanting to
Yeah,
do
the
this
action is
for
illogical,
the
but-
health of his heart.
He what?
For the health the health of his heart. He wants to have a healthy heart, so he's going to shoot himself with a gun in his heart to make his heart healthy. Is that a stupid idea? And how is that illogical?
Oh, because he thinks that's going to make his heart healthy?
Yeah.
You're desperately trying to escape this stupid idea thing.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, like,
Well, she's hung up.
That's-
She's got a relationship with this word that is getting in the way.
Yeah.
yeah.
Travis, I want to clarify
Yeah.
something.
I guess it's
Like, if that's a hard question to answer, Amy, I wonder why.
Well, the same-
I mean, sure, that's a stupid idea, and now you've just disproven my assertion that there are no stupid ideas. But that's, I guess it's, are those the kind of ideas that are important to discuss? A hypothetical, unrealistic.
Yes, because
With failed logic?
Because it sounds like you've changed your belief that from there are no stupid ideas that
Not
there are some.
really. I mean, but
You have
sure, it looks that way, and I can give you that.
Hang in there, Amy.
If that's what you want.
Look,
like, sure.
I'll say
I'm
this.
just saying there's nothing.
I take issue with this.
Just one
okay,
one
go
thing.
ahead.
There's nothing wrong with changing our positions if we make a claim, and
Exactly.
we find ourselves that we want to change that belief
But
that we hold.
but I think here's the point that it just came to me. The idea you gave, I guess you gave reasons
Yep.
for the idea instead of just saying, is it a stupid idea for him to shoot himself in the heart? And you described what would make such an idea stupid as a means of asking me if that was a stupid idea.
Right.
Do we all understand? Do we all agree on what ideas
hold on.
are?
Just
we having issues
Well,
with
no.
Travis, let me know when I can say. When I can go.
Don,
You
I
qualified it as
don't really
qualified it
want
as
to.
stupid.
I don't want to really go down there. I think Amy's having an issue with the term stupid and how it applies, and her claim there are no stupid ideas, I think, is an interesting claim to sort out. And I think we gave the example of the person, and we also gave what their goal was, their stated goal. They say, I want to have a healthy heart. And then they take a gun and they put it to their heart with the idea that they are going to shoot their heart and make their heart healthy. And
the thing about
Wait, there's a thing that I want to clarify in this scenario. Is it this person's belief that when they shoot themselves in the heart, their heart will get healthier?
Yes. That's why they're
So
claiming this. They let's say they read it in a fantasy book somewhere that shooting yourself in a heart's going to so they believe that this is going to make their heart better.
And they genuinely believe that it's going to
Yes.
make their heart healthier.
Yes.
So it seems to me the action is not stupid. The stupid thing here is not verifying the belief that shooting yourself in the heart will make your health healthier.
No, is the idea stupid? That's the question. That's that we're discussing
No,
today.
given the assumptions, the idea is not stupid.
Yeah, we're not asking. Go ahead, Bruno.
So from what I understood from Travis, it's a hypothetical of an individual who knows that.
Yeah, and
shooting yourself in the heart.
And I'm asking you if you think Jolly. I'm asking you if you think it is stupid to shoot yourself in the heart in order to make your heart better. Do you think that's stupid?
Based on my knowledge, it is stupid. But if I were to have a belief in my mind that shooting myself in my heart will make it healthier, it wouldn't be stupid for me to shoot myself in the heart.
Yeah,
but then that belief would be stupid. But then the belief would be stupid, right?
Yeah, the belief. I wholeheartedly agree. The belief would be stupid because I didn't check it, I didn't verify it, I didn't see the examples of people who were shot in their heart and what happened next. What happened to them? You have to check those things if you have such positive claim in your mind. But the action itself is not stupid, given that I have a view in my mind that it will make my heart health.
But we're not talking about the action, or we're talking about having the idea.
Yeah, we're talking about the idea.
In the context, though, it's not a stupid idea.
Which idea? The idea to shoot yourself in the heart, or the idea that shooting yourself in the heart?
In order to heal my heart, I must put a bullet through it.
Given that I think you have to also lay down the assumption. Given the individual knows that, bullet through the
you
heart
have to
is would kill.
Lethal. Yeah.
So, if they know that, then it's a stupid idea.
Let's go back to the Empire State building scenario. When a person goes up on a...
Why can't we just stick with the bullet in the heart one for now?
Yeah, let's stick with the bullet in the heart. In order
we
keep moving.
There's no escape.
Well, it doesn't say that make much of a difference.
Go ahead, Bruce.
No, I don't know. It's just it's like one of the issues that's difficult with the statement is we have to assume. See, in some of these scenarios, we assume that we understand all the particulars of every situation and its probable outcomes. And that's the way that you would address situations that would be considered stupid. But in other scenarios, you couldn't make the claim because you don't have enough information.
Yeah, that's fine, and that's why we're dealing with this hypothetical.
But no, I'm trying to that's why I'm trying to defend Amy's situation there, because it's situational, because there are scenarios she's probably, and everyone's dealt with, that you don't have enough information to make a determination about somebody else's claim.
Yeah.
So that when you shoot from the hip with a claim about stupidity, you find it difficult to hold that as a base tenet in your life because you've had too many outliers.
Yeah, but that's why we structured this to give what I would suggest and argue is enough information to be able to claim that is a stupid idea.
Yeah. The issue there, it's not that. Yeah, this scenario is easy. The issue is
it's not for Amy though. She's still not willing to accept.
No,
it,
well,
right?
the thing is, I'm trying to explain what I think is why that becomes an issue. Is because when a person doesn't want to be implicated by one of their stances on a particular subject, to then apply to all of the stances around that subject. And so, because a scenario exists where you can say that this holds true, you don't want that to become a part of your character trait set, that you hold firm judgments on stupidity.
Yeah.
So,
but anyone approaching
to make a blanket claim
like
about
that,
yourself,
Yeah. But approaching a
you
hypothetical
would have to
like
approach
that
some
is,
hypotheticals that way.
No, I don't think. I think you can just answer hypotheticals. I don't.
Well, yes and no.
This is what I think.
There aren't hypotheticals that exist in a vacuum. I mean, unless, of course, maybe this does, but in most scenarios, a hypothetical is looking to glean out more information about your character, presuppositions, or otherwise your leanings. And so that's why it's difficult for people to make claims that are objectively stated, even in a hypothetical, because you're then building up a case either for or against that person's character or their ideas.
Well, the claim was
that's why it's difficult to answer the question.
The claim was it's pretty simple. There are no stupid ideas, and we were offering hypotheticals where that just can't be the case, right? Because we have objective scientific reasons as to why that can't be the case in some cases. So the absolute claim there are no stupid ideas should not be believed.
As far as saying that a pharaoh in like ancient Egypt, it was a good idea for that pharaoh, not a stupid idea, to take his brains and mummify himself so he can go into the next world. For him, that's a great idea, and everyone around him agreed that's not a stupid idea.
For him,
yes.
Yes, I would say that's not a stupid idea for
100%.
them, but for
them,
me,
exactly.
Yeah, and this is why I'm asking, because I think we will find that in most cases, people are not just doing these things ignorantly. They're doing them because they have sound, or what they believe to be sound reasons to believe that proposition. But I want to get your guys' answers about these from your own perspective.
And you see, Dan.
Yeah, I'm just trying to flesh out the reason why that would be at all. I'm just trying to flesh out the reason why somebody would not draw hard lines in the sand.
Yeah.
Because they would rather leave the options open when it comes to other scenarios in life. And no offense to Amy, but that's pretty common among women. I'll say that.
That's fine, and I think maybe I can think of it as the exception that proves the rule.
Agreeability.
Exceptions don't prove a rule.
Honestly, Amy, I don't believe in this. Like, I don't believe you don't. Like, you honestly don't believe that there are stupid ideas. You have definitely seen some things in your life, and you said, "Oh, that's stupid." You've definitely done that. And if you've done that, you believe in stupid ideas.
You don't have to believe me.
Yeah, but are we talking subjectively stupid or objectively stupid?
Let's just take people at their word and not start arguing. Whether or not they're honest or dishonest.
So
let's get to the subjective definition of stupid, right? In all honesty, there are no stupid ideas, given you do not have assumptions of common knowledge. Once you put that into the equation, which is what we do when we say there are stupid ideas, you have stupid ideas, right? So, of course, you won't be like stark pinpoints on the objective consensus of what a stupid idea is, but you can get an approximation, right?
Yeah, is there like a raise hand button there, or maybe
go ahead, Jill.
I don't want to interrupt anyone.
No,
but,
just come right in.
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm just thinking. I've been listening a while, and I think we've come back like I think 10 times to the same claim, and I think that's good because that was actually something that I was thinking about in the beginning, and that is that a stupid idea is when you don't act according to the evidence that you have. And I think you need to be able to have a term like that. And I think it's fair for Amy to or for anyone to disagree with that. But I think at the end of the day, we're just talking about definitions. And I think a definition can't be wrong because it's not a statement about the world. A definition is just a statement about what you mean with a certain word.
Words have usages, not
intended. The definition is useful or it's not.
Exactly. And I'm just saying you need to be able to have a word for an action or a conclusion that is not intelligent with respect to the claims or with respect to the information that you have at that time. And I think if you call it stupid or unintelligent or whatever, I don't think it's a huge deal. But I think we're in agreement on that.
Yeah, but stupid is quite a colloquial label. Some people may not use it very often, but when we give these hypotheticals, you would think that if you show something objective, like from a scientific objective perspective, shooting yourself in the heart would not be good for your heart's health, right? And that's kind of what that's the scenario we're dealing with right now, for the claim.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
guess
no,
I think
but
that
I mean, then it is very clear that in that case it is stupid because of one single reason, and that is that you have overwhelming reason to believe that that would not be good with
Right.
respect to the goals that you have.
And we can even
So, I mean, I
qualify
think
it
that's the
further
answer.
with all the knowledge, let's say, Don, all of us in the room have about human biology. We could say that. We can even add that to the hypothetical.
Travis, I love your example you use with the shoot yourself in the heart. You just you swing for the fence, man. How's this? Like, pull a grenade pin and put it in your mouth on top of that.
Yeah, like
while
if
you're
you
at
if
it.
you want if you want to if you want let's say to improve your mental well-being, pulling a grenade out of your pocket, putting it in your mouth, and letting it blow up in order to do so is a good idea based on all of our collective knowledge. It's like, yeah, that would be a bad.
It's a good idea in both.
idea.
It's a good and a bad idea, and I'll make the argument for the good idea if that's okay.
Yeah.
We
Natural
don't know.
selection.
We can. Yeah. All right. That's sure. We don't necessarily know all the particulars around the future events that may occur. We also don't necessarily know all the particulars around the past events that have occurred. And so you can only make reasonable decisions around what may occur in the future. But if your life has been suffering up to now, and all of the reasonable assumptions you have about your state of affairs, death would be a quality solution. Understanding your current knowledge that you've gathered so far, even despite the evidence presented to you from other people's experiences, it doesn't necessarily change how you have observed your lived scenarios and how you would assume tomorrow's pain to be.
But we're almost certain that brain death is death. Like, from a scientific objective perspective, brain death is death. It shuts off. There's no more sign of life. So we're almost certain about that. So wouldn't it be stupid to go against that almost certainty with the grenade in the mouth? If you wanted to improve your or let's just say if you wanted to clean your teeth, you decide to put a grenade in your mouth and let it blow up. You know, is that a stupid way to clean your teeth? Is that a stupid idea?
Are you assuming that they have free
I would
will?
actually argue for
No, I
the
think
human.
that's.
Sorry.
Oh, see, it was a little easier to make the assumption. Sorry, I should want to address what Travis said. That's a little harder to make the case I was making,
right?
Because the case before definitely does end the problem with the heart entirely.
Right. Yeah, and
You know.
and I'm happy we can refine these hypotheticals until we get to a place where, you know, we can claim that, okay, I guess there are some stupid ideas. I guess that would be the goal of going down these hypotheticals.
Yeah. So I mean,
how would?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm wondering how how Pangburn would reconcile free will and the pleasure drive in that scenario.
Well, it's
a little.
It's regardless of whether it's predetermined or not, doesn't change the fact that we are engaging as though we do have free will under this illusion of free will. So it doesn't really add anything to the hypothetical.
Amen.
Agency is the issue there. But anyway, I would say the scenario of brushing. So I guess the biggest question around this fatalist scenario is whether or not the individual truly attempts to fix the issue and remain alive, or if their only attempt is to fix the issue. And so you'd have to say, well killing yourself fixes the problem. You know,
let's tune it to wherever you need to go, or wherever anyone needs to go, to a point where they would say, okay, well, if it was that way, then that would be a stupid idea.
Travis.
Yeah. I mean, I would say that, like, I don't have no problem with any of these scenarios because I think there's a seriously objective truths out there. So there are a ton of objective stupid ideas. So that would be an easy one. I don't see the problem there.
What was
but
that,
I was just sort of taking the other side of it. Go ahead,
Go ahead,
Bruno.
I hear you. It's interesting. Yeah. Bruno, go
Oh yeah,
ahead.
I just wanted to say. Oh, Grim, go
Oh,
ahead.
go ahead.
You go ahead, Grim. I've been speaking.
I was gonna say, well, in that there's a scale or gradient of stupidity. I'd say that possibly almost every idea could be stupid as long as there is a better idea pragmatically at the same time available. So it is hard because maybe you don't have access to that idea in some ways, or maybe that idea is great for you, but maybe for personal reasons you choose the other. It's not. They almost have somewhat equal outcomes. Like if I said, 75%. Let's go back to cleaning teeth. This one has 75% of the fluoride as this other toothpaste, and so but this one tastes better to me, so I use it. Yes, it's a stupid idea because the other one would improve my teeth better, and that's my goal. But this one tastes better. Is it truly a stupid idea? So there's this weird gradient rather than me saying I'm going to put a grenade in my mouth, which is equivalently more stupid. So I think there's this interesting gradient that you gotta have to, like, at what point are you crossing the threshold of it's just stupid.
Grim, but sometimes it could be genius because I mean, like, you're not really stupid, but you're playing stupid and fooling people that you're stupid. You in conning a person and you dupe them.
What was that?
You act retarded.
What was that,
but you're not
Don?
retarded. As long as you don't go full retard. I'm doing Tropic Thunder here.
Right, but we always end up going back to the same spot. The definition of stupid.
As long as you don't go full stupid.
It doesn't talk about anything objective. Stupidity and objectivity are in two different magisteria. That's like saying pleasant. Pleasant is not an objective. It defines.
Well, not necessarily.
So
It
one
depends
thing-
on how you define it.
Well, I just wanted to say, Don, if someone does give the proper qualifiers, though, like if someone's to say, like, I want to call my mom on the phone, and then they're like, this is how you dial the phone, and they believe it's they think they have an idea that the best way to dial the phone is to shoot themselves in the head. Can we not say that is objectively an incorrect way to dial the phone?
Objective by what measure?
Yeah, by a measure of physics.
By a measure of physics.
Yeah.
I would think the word stupid carries way too much subjective baggage. And a better would be like either inadequate or would be not in line with the telos of the object or something like that, rather than calling it stupid.
But
there's better definitions.
Yeah, I'm not saying that there's not better words, but can you not say from a physics perspective or from a math perspective that answer was stupid, because instead of writing an answer to 1 + 1 = they scribbled and ripped the page up.
So
okay, so we have to.
I just wanted to
genius.
Dan, real quick. I think you're right. Like, stupidity is extremely subjective, but I think there are some foundational. There are some places at which you can reductionist places where you can get and say, I think on the majority scale, this is stupid, right? So, with your example with the pharaohs, you said it wasn't stupid at the time, and you're right. It wasn't stupid at the time because it was common knowledge, in quotes, that you need to take out your brains so you can continue in the afterlife or something like that. And everyone, or most people, believe that, right? So it wasn't stupid, but in light of new knowledge and new reasoning, we realize, hey man, no, that's that's not possible. You can't, that doesn't happen. Then I think it becomes stupid because most people modern people look at that and say it's stupid. So the point I'm making is this: there are no stupid ideas, but there are no stupid ideas as long as you're not assuming some basis of common knowledge. There are no stupid ideas. But once you put that in, all right, man, at least most people should know this. Of course, not everyone would know it. Most people should know this. then you get into the realm of some type of objective stupidity.
But you can also,
That's right.
but Bruno, you can also speak of it from different metrics, even if you don't have your own subjective, like right or wrong metric, like you don't have your own moral foundation to call on. You can still say, from a perspective simply of mathematics, I know some wouldn't like to use the term stupid because it may not be the most constructive or best word to use. But is it stupid from purely from a perspective of mathematics to draw a shaded in triangle for the answer of 1 + 1? If the person even we can add like what's in the person's head, like whatever we would have to add to say that that's an objectively stupid answer. And maybe someone might argue that, okay, stupid doesn't mean wrong. You know,
Can I give
an
that
argument?
From a mathematical perspective, no, the word stupid itself is not from a mathematical perspective. Like, if I answer stupid from a mathematical perspective, I'm no longer answering from a mathematical perspective. I'm answering the question from a different perspective.
Travis, can I respond to that real quick?
The idea of it, not like itself.
A quick response. What if you're like trying to you're going up against a person and you want to like con them into thinking something else about you, thinking one thing instead of something else, where you play yourself down in a way they think you're not a threat, and in order to get at them.
Well,
it's a deception.
Yeah, that might not be stupid. It might be smart, right? Depending on what the goal is.
The problem is we're wobbling around in the scenarios, not strictly defining what we're talking about.
Well, we have defined it a few times, right?
I don't think so.
Okay. Do you want to offer a definition?
Yeah, not exactly a definition, but we have to narrow down the specific case, the very specific instance we're talking about the mathematics question. When we are trying to find out what is the correct or not stupid answer to question of 1 + 1, there's only one answer: 2, and anything but 2 is stupid. It's not correct. Of course, but if we have a person in this scenario, whose goal is not necessarily to be right in this question, replying elephant to 1 + 1 might not necessarily be stupid. But if we consider the question given 1 + 1 equals, and consider the answer given by the person elephant, the answer is incorrect, and therefore that idea is stupid. But the motivation validates the action.
Okay, so
the hypothetical that doesn't state the person's motivation to write an elephant as an answer.
Yeah, but we can also
they were attempting to be correct at mathematics. If the person intended to be correct at mathematics and they still replied elephant, it was stupid.
Right. So.
But only if.
Okay. Now, Bruno, go ahead. You were trying to get in.
Yeah, I just I think he sort of like pointed out what I wanted to say earlier. Given that the person knows, or there is a presupposition that this person knows the fundamentals of math. Right? You can't go through the fundamentals of math without knowing 1 + 1 = 2. You can't. So, given that this person understands the fundamentals of math and does that, then it's a stupid idea, right?
Not necessarily.
So another one. Here's one that might get a little more confusing on the subjective side of things, but also, again, let's also give an answer based on whether we were in the scenario in the given circumstance, or based on what we would claim about that scenario, whether we would be willing to claim that it's stupid. So how about a creationist The answer on the or the question of the test is how old is the Earth, and the creationist has read and studied and understands what the scientific consensus has to say about the age of the Earth, but they give the answer of 6,000 years because it says so in their holy book. Is that stupid? Or would a teacher marking that test, if they came across the 6,000 years answer instead of the 4.55, and they claimed, wow, that's a stupid answer, would they be wrong in claiming that it's a stupid answer?
I think.
Do we set last Thursdaysism aside?
What's that, Del?
I was going to say that if we carefully divide these two types of stupid beforehand, I think we can answer this question. Like,
yeah,
go ahead. Do it and then apply it to the question I just asked.
Yeah. So if you have the subjective truth, which is basically this idea is stupid in the confines of this other idea that you're doing it, I would definitely agree that it was stupid to give that answer knowing that your goal should be to correctly answer the question on the test. You have all the information at hand, but you're choosing this thing due to like an argument of authority.
Right. Now you're
all the relevant data.
Sorry, Dal, you're agreeing that would be stupid, right?
That it would be stupid if you knew all of that and still gave the wrong answer, and it wasn't even to prove a point to the teacher. It was just like to say so.
And that's the hypothetical. Yep, that's the exact hypothetical I painted. Then you have a second
Pangburn.
Yeah.
One of my favorite terms is show your math.
Show your math.
Right.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Let Dal ZMO finish his second part, and then we'll go with you.
All right.
You
want me to go?
Yeah, let
go
Dal
ahead.
go. Yeah.
I was basically going to say on the other end of it, you have the sort of, because there's almost a double subjective truth where you could say in the confines of only the religious saying it's 6,000 idea saying it's the Earth is 6,000 year old wouldn't be a stupid idea because you're basically going along with common sense, but it would be objectively wrong. And you could define that as stupid, and that's kind of like a different.
It would more be ignorance at that point instead of stupid, right?
Yeah, and I think the math. Like I tend to think if you go towards what is well, I guess the best way to say it is, it's about pragmatism. It's really stupid if you're going against the pragmatic value X thing to have. That's what makes it stupid.
Right. Does anyone disagree with that? How about you, Don? Do you yeah.
Is it about pragmatism? I would just say it's an unpragmatic idea, and this is where I keep having a problem. I feel like if we're gonna define the stupid as, and if we understand stupid as something that is out of line with a person's common sense, then it's that term doesn't the definition of stupid doesn't lay in the realm of things that are objective.
Can we
I don't know how else to parse
Dal,
that.
Can we stick with what Dal's first option was, though? The definition he was using. Dal, can you restate kind of what that is? You mentioned the hypothetical that if the person is scientifically literate and understands that the science books that they have read and they were told to study for the tests says 4.55 billion years old, yet their scripture tells them 6,000 years old, they write 6,000. That was where Dal said they would be stupid for doing so. And Don, do you not think that's stupidity?
Yeah, I would say that's stupidity. I agree with that.
Okay. Interesting.
Because they know that's wrong and they do it anyhow.
Yeah. And what about Bruce? What do you think about that one?
The issue of the creationism.
Yeah. So basically, the kid knows
it's stupid
that
if you want to pass the.
Oh.
It's stupid if you're wanting to pass the course. Yes, it is stupid.
Yeah.
That's
But
not
if
stupid
you're-
according
I
to your
keep
conviction.
saying the idea of being stupid is really a self-defined thing. If your friends are like, man, that's a stupid idea, you're like, no, it's not. It's a great. And your friends are like, bro, it's a stupid idea.
Right.
And then you're like, oh
Yeah, but-
shit, it is a stupid idea.
Yeah.
Depends on what the goal is, but what I would say what is
They're trying to convince you
But-
of their subjective experience,
But someone might-
subjective
although-
understanding of the idea.
Although Don, if there is an objective, like let's say I really want to get into this college, so I'm going to pull my pants down during my interview and helicopter my dick. Your friends might say, "Man, that's stupid. That's stupid." And then if you're to respond with like with all of the knowledge you have now and try to justify how that's not a stupid idea, aren't you going to have a hard time doing that?
Yeah, I would. But
Right.
if I don't know any better.
Oh,
I
yeah,
just
yeah.
wouldn't say it's a stupid
Of
idea. I would
course.
say it's an ignorant idea.
Yes, of course.
I would say
I
it's
agree
a-
fully. I agree fully.
So that's
Yeah.
kind of how I see it. I think that that's why I keep going
And
back to stupid
again,
is a descriptor of a subjective state.
I think
Well, I
it's
think it
about
really- Let me say something real quick.
It's not.
Yeah, ZMO, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, this is just real quick, but you actually mentioned it when you were talking to Dow. I think we're getting caught up in the difference between ignorance and stupidity. And that's an important distinction to draw. Ignorance is common, you know what I mean? People back in the day thought the earth was flat, that's just ignorance. But nowadays, if you think the earth is flat, it's stupidity. It's, you know what I mean? That's an important distinction. I think that might be maybe a little bit of Dan, maybe some of Dan's problem. I don't know, with the whole concept.
I think to add on to that, it's the other thing that's kind of messing us up is the fact that it's about goal oriented or goal orientation. So if I gave the 6,000-year-old answer for the Earth on that test, but I did it specifically to piss off my teacher, then I would say that wasn't a stupid
But that's
idea.
changing. That's
Okay.
changing it, right?
Yeah, I know,
Because specifically,
Yeah, sure.
they're trying to get the right answer.
Yeah,
The
I
answer
totally
has to
agree
be
with that.
correct.
It's just I would say that would almost never exist in actuality outside of someone who's mentally ill. Because if you have all the relevant information and the goal and you know how to accomplish it and you still give the wrong answer, I'd almost want to call that some form of insanity and not even stupidity.
Yeah.
It reminds me of the first thing I said when Travis asked me, "What is a stupid idea?" And I said, "Well, it's hard to define stupid because you'll be all over the place. But I think the best way to understand it is that you do something, and as soon as you're done doing it, or as soon as you did the idea, or you actualize the idea, you go back and go, wow, that's a stupid idea. I don't know how I didn't think of this other little thing. I was super stupid." And I think that's where it starts and where it ends.
I've just got something quick to say. I think you never get to a point where you can define things like on the dot. You never get there, right?
Yeah.
But just to quickly say something to Dow's
Hey,
thing.
Delta, do you mind muting? We're just getting some air from your mic there. Thanks.
Yeah. So even if the goal of the student was to make the teacher laugh or just to be funny, right? Why is it funny? Because the idea is stupid. So you still run into that. Like there's no other reason why it's funny besides that.
It's funny because other people consider it stupid, so it's funny to them.
Yeah, but
it's not objectively stupid because that idea in a different context could not be
yeah,
stupid.
but
at all.
Dan, I was never arguing for objective stupidity. I think that stupidity is subjective, but at a foundational level, you can get to some objective stupidity. I think at a reductionist level, I think you can get subjective stupidity. But as you sort of expand from that, it becomes when you get into a priori and common knowledge scenarios, then I think you can get subjective stupidity. But when you get into experiential scenarios, then it becomes
But
extremely.
it's still subject oriented. It's towards the people who are the subject, not about the things that are external to the subject. It's still subjective, whether it's a plurality, right? The opinion of a society, we might measure it through objective means, but that opinion about what it is to be stupid is not an objective stupid thing. Something that is objectively stupid can be analyzed and get the measurement of stupid. We don't have that. We only have subjective analysis
Correct.
of things to determine whether they're stupid or not.
You
There's
do-
no
you
measurement.
do-
Of the result is
Yeah.
stupid.
You do have to
we
start
have
with
subjective analysis
you
of
have
things.
to start with some presuppositions, or a
Yeah,
presupposition.
and that's
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. But so with the 1 + 1 = 2, the example, are you saying that's subjective analysis? Because that's the analysis we're
1
using.
+ 1. No. For example, 1 plus if a 3-year-old if a 4-year-old who's learning math comes to me and goes 2 + 2 = 5, they're not stupid, and that's not a stupid
We're not
idea.
using that. We're not using a 3-year-old or 4-year-old. We're using someone who's been educated in
understands
math.
Yes,
Yeah, who
Yeah, but
wants-
I would just say the distinction there would be the difference between the action and whether or not it's actually true. Like it's one thing to say that it is true that 1 + 1 is 3, which would be false. But saying it on a test, for example, to mess with someone would be a reasonable thing to do under some circumstances. So I think that's a
Yeah.
distinction.
But
I would say that if a 4-year-old, if one of my children who are over 4 years old didn't know what 2 + 2 was instead it was 5, I'd call them stupid. Because at 4, you better know that.
We got to know, but we also got to know like what the goal is, right? And that's why I use the example of, my goal is to brush my teeth, and I throw a grenade in my mouth. Can we not say objectively brushing your teeth, which is to clean your teeth? Throwing a grenade in your mouth is a stupid way of doing that.
Yeah, but it just goes back to the exact same thing as the heart example. It's the same thing. I mean, I think. I mean, I would just like to ask Gabriel if people disagree at this point. Like, if like we have said these 2 points now. Like we have the intent that you have and the knowledge that you have. So if you do something that is bad with respect to the goal you have and the knowledge you have, then that is what you would call stupid. Like, does anyone disagree with that?
So that's counter to the goal you have.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So
So
if
that
you
would
do
be
something-
shooting yourself in the heart.
So if you
Yes.
do something that's counter to the goal you have, it's stupid. I don't really
Well-
consider the goal in my definition stupid. I don't
Yeah,
think the goal is
yeah. Like
So,
if you're
Bruno,
trying to
I
get
think-
checkmate and you push it right at diagonally in front of a pawn to get it in check, like Dan's example earlier, and then they capture your queen, you fucking smack yourself on the head and say, I should have had a BA.
Yeah, like that was a
stupid.
stupid move,
But
Yeah,
sometimes
so-
you
yeah.
could always
Because
have
you're
a
playing
better
a game.
move.
You're playing a game with an objective, and what
Yes.
some of us are saying is that it wouldn't be a stupid move if you wanted to let your child win, right? So sometimes some people are putting
Right.
their self in that moral ought situation, and saying that, well, it wouldn't be stupid if like someone might come and say, why'd you make that stupid move? It's like, it wasn't stupid. I wanted my kid to win. So the under that those examples, understanding that goal, we can say that was not
Yes.
stupid. But if we understand the goal to
Yes.
be to win this game at any cost, and the person puts their queen in a pawn danger zone, and it gets taken, that was a stupid move.
And that's why it's also subjective, because the action itself, the object of a perception, the thing that extends outside of us, or whatever it is we're observing, the objects in our space,
Because the goal
don't tell us whether
Yeah.
it's stupid or not. It
Yeah,
all
it's-
depends on the
it's
context.
always subjective.
Yeah,
it all
you're-
depends on the subject.
But so
Travis,
Don, you're
yeah.
saying because it depends on what the goal is, that means it's subjective. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely, no questions about it.
Right. The
Because it
goal
involves
the goal
us.
itself is subjective, Don. But can we not
Goal-
look
yeah.
at a example in medicine? And this is why I brought up COVID-19, by the way, to look at objective statements, stupid statements, like claims of stupidity that we could make from a let's say from a medical science perspective, from a well-being perspective.
No, then we say it's counter to well-being. It's detrimental. But the word stupid would just not find itself in any medical perspective, mathematical perspective. No objective perspective uses the word stupid because it's just not the right word to use in those contexts.
Well, it's a loaded term.
Yeah,
it's a loaded term. So yeah, they might steer away from that, but they might use an equivalent of stupid.
So if you watch, so when you say no, I just want to bring up, like, if you watch some videos of how some GPs talk to their patients, like in a very generalized, like colloquial buddy way, this one kid will say, I want to get back on the ice and play again, and it's only been a week since their last concussion. The doctor says, well, that would be very stupid, Tommy, because you might trigger a second concussion. Are we saying that would be a misuse of language?
No, I would say that the doctor is making the decision of how to talk to this individual, what is the right way that they believe talking to them, and how to convince them, or how can they understand that this idea is just detrimental to their well-being. Since that's the doctor's goal. So he might use the word stupid to convey the message properly to the person he's standing in front.
Now, if that
for example,
I was going to say, if that goal was based in objective medical science, are you saying it's much like, using well-being as your measure of good, that the presupposition that well-being in this case is good needs to be considered, and that makes the whole, everything that's contained within, subjective.
Can you say that again? I didn't quite follow. I'm sorry.
Sorry, I was shaking my drink as I was trying to talk. But what am I trying to say here? Let me come back to it. I distracted myself. But yeah, I'm trying to say that, like, can you think of any scenarios in medical science where someone would say, oh, that was a stupid approach to that kind of surgery, because that kind of surgery has been demonstrated to be the most deadly approach you can take when we have better surgeries that can be done. And let's say that's upheld by the scientific rigor.
Is it not the case? Is it not the case that there are objective and subjective statements, both of which could be stupid?
Exactly my point, Greg.
That's why I started the conversation with.
They can be considered by whom or by what, right? When someone makes an objective statement and you're like, that's a stupid statement to make, you're valuing it as stupid, and you're saying that it's against basic common sense. You're making that determination rather than objective thing you can measure. But I don't
objective statement.
No one is making a
gravity is not real.
No, we're having a subjective, objective conversation.
But I'm fine going where Grimm's going. Like if someone says epistemology is a cat, that's all it is. Is that stupid?
Well,
and let's say, and let me add something to this. Let's say it's me saying it, with everything Don, about who I am. If I say epistemology is a cat, it just is. That is, like, isn't that stupid?
Here's how I can prove it's subjective.
I would say you're wrong, Travis.
Here's how I can prove it's subjective. I wouldn't take that statement and put it anybody in place to say it, and it would still have the equivalency of stupidity.
Say, Travis, are you joking? And if you said no, and then you went on for 10 more minutes, I'd say, hey, man, you might want to have.
It's like, that's a stupid idea, right?
Yeah, but
not only that, I'd say get your medical. I'd say get your medical. Go to a psychiatrist or something if this keeps up. I mean,
how about something like even more contentious, like how someone may treat another. That's not a better example because we're getting way more subjective. Never mind.
Let's stay with the medical or whatever
Yeah,
it is,
yeah.
or the
Medicine.
epistemology means a hat or whatever
Yeah,
you
yeah,
want to say.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now, if
Epistemology
we're all
is a hat, not means, but it actually is a hat, like scientifically measurable hat. That's what epistemology is.
My first thing would be like, well, that's a wrong statement, or that statement isn't in line with the way we use the word epistemology. But to evaluate its stupidity is kind of depends on the person I talk with, right?
Okay.
Travis Pangburn, rather than a 3-year-old.
Yeah.
It depends on what I know your knowledge is or isn't. And
Yep.
if I met someone who wasn't Travis, I'm like, epistemology is a hat, like an actual hat. But like, I think you're using the word wrong.
Yeah.
I wouldn't just say that's stupid or
Okay.
you're stupid. That's
I
a
know you
stupid
wouldn't just
statement.
say that, but Don, all I'm asking
But
is, would
I
it get
don't.
to a
No, I
certain
don't
point?
think. I don't think on its face it's a stupid statement.
Oh no, I'm not. But I'm saying in the scenario where it's me and we go down the road, you and I have like two 2 hours of conversation about it, and I'm still. Like,
I would be like,
sticking to my
Travis,
guns.
you're either goddamn stupid or you're high out of your goddamn brain. That's as far as I will go.
But would you
yes,
say?
Yes, absolutely.
But couldn't
I
you
would
say
tell
that
you,
the
yeah, I would
idea
tell
is
you.
stupid?
I would use that language.
Yeah.
I would
Okay.
use that language.
Yeah.
But and subjectively, that idea is very stupid. But I just, I would
this
just.
is the thing, right? Like, I'm not going to use the epistemology idea. You're going to go back to the math idea because I really like that one. You can say that is objectively stupid, the math idea, right? Because it's an objective analysis from the equation 1 + 1 = 2, right? The fact that it's being interpreted by a subject, like the subjective entity, doesn't make it objective. Because you can also say, well, subjective entity is interpreting the physics of the universe, although they're using objective analysis. And do you then say, because it's being interpreted by an subjective entity, that it's subjective? Because I think that's what you're doing, Dan.
No, that's not. I'm saying because we're talking about the idea of a subjective entity. The ideas do not exist outside of the subjects spewing them, whereas physics and chemistry do.
Right.
Right. The ideas do not exist outside the object's subjective entity, whereas physics and chemistry do. But how would you know that, though?
I kind of think
Now we're going down a different route.
I think
now we're talking about epistemology.
Yeah.
But we're not there. We're talking about whether an idea is stupid. And whether, right? We're not.
I want to
but
ask
it doesn't
for an idea to be stupid.
Let's let Chad get in for a minute, and then we'll go back to Bruno and Don because this is really fucking interesting. Chad, what makes an idea stupid?
Oh, so yeah, I am here to listen in more than anything else. Okay. As of right now, it doesn't sound like I diverge very much from Don. But again, I haven't listened long enough to really, I guess, say yes, I agree or disagree. But as far as I understand it, an idea being stupid is kind of it's a subjective judgment. It's a value placement.
Yep.
That can't be separated from any sort of context.
Okay.
So you can have an idea that is objectively wrong, but that doesn't make it inherently stupid.
Right. So you wouldn't say colloquially that it's stupid to not get a vaccine?
It is stupid once you take the context, I guess, surrounding that conversation.
Yeah, okay.
But if someone comes up to me and immediately says, I'm not going to get a vaccine, I don't immediately say, oh, you're stupid. You have to coax out that context and you have to get the information why.
Let me help this out for a sec. So hanging Chad, if all of a sudden tomorrow, if you could talk to your tomorrow self, who has since become convinced that through a message from God that he got in his dream that the COVID vaccine is evil, would you tell yourself in the future that that's a stupid idea? Because yourself in the future has all of your... Okay, so you would call that a stupid idea.
That is a stupid idea, knowing all the possible context that I have, all the previous, researching / intuitive knowledge / whatever else you want to say, all of a sudden to come out with this unsubstantiated random God claim, okay, well, that seems stupid. Explain why, and if you can't convince me that is a stupid idea. So yeah, I mean, but again, it's a subjective, I guess, a subjective application on my own worldview to myself.
Yeah, and I would like everyone to kind of open up about some ideas they think are stupid, even if they're very hot takes that you think you're gonna ruffle some feathers. I want to hear them. But first, Memix, I want to get Memix's answer to what makes an idea stupid.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me in this great, beautiful day.
Yeah, thanks.
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
Beautiful day
I
in the
know.
neighborhood.
I'm just listening.
Oh, okay. Cool. Well, if you feel like jumping in at any time, unmute and we will all shut up.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Go on.
It's going to be stupid for me to ask for your. No, never mind.
Would it? No, but I think this is actually a fun game. Like, even if we're talking in the realm of art, when we say like that movie was stupid, it's like, of course, in the realm of art, we get into subjectiveville, like complete subjectiveville. We have nothing objective to call upon like we do on the side of what is going on in reality. It's just our own feelings, right? But within the context of a certain film, like if you're talking about like Star Wars, you can say it was objectively stupid for the Force to actually turn out to be or for all of the Star Wars characters to actually be in a simulation. Like there is no Star Wars universe, and it was just a bunch of modern apes in a simulation. Like someone might want to argue within the context of that film, right? Or that world that was created.
Yeah, like with world building, people fans get really upset when people don't hold true to the story. So, if there was a sequel tomorrow, knowing this PC culture that we're delving into, if the next Star Wars was just all Asian people, all of a sudden Luke Skywalker is a Korean and all this other shit, and then and then they have two babies. Yeah, North Korean.
What's wrong with that, dude? I'm Asian.
It would be two white people having a baby. It's being black. Disgusting Star Wars.
Jesus.
Yes, that would be in the line of the story. That would be objectively stupid in the subjective story.
I would just go, oh wait, there's also talking Wookiees and like Ewoks
yes.
and like these flying, like alien like Jew looking things.
That's where I go.
Wizards. I forgot. That's where I don't draw the line there, but
that's where I go in movies when like I'm watching a fantasy movie and someone's like, well, it didn't really make sense when the person got on their broom and started flying around in the sky, because you can't fly on brooms. Meanwhile, there was like guys shooting fireballs out of their eyes and like giant like dragons flying around. I'm just like, really? Is that what we're actually? It reminds
that's where
me,
we draw the line.
It reminds me of so many Game of Thrones conversations for some reason that I had. While Game of Thrones was like really hot, where people would be like, well, back in those days.
Oh, yeah, Mr. Dragons.
Yeah. Back in those days, there was fire-breathing dragons galore.
Yeah. Back in those days, every chick was super hot.
What? Oh, in the Game of Thrones. Oh, yeah. And all the actors had their dicks like magnified to a gazillion degrees. They all looked like they were just packing like 12 inches.
Hashtag dick envy.
Wiener.
That's how it used to be back in the day. Everyone was just quote unquote hanging Chad.
We're gonna
hey.
We're gonna need a 100 times magnifier for this one.
Did they really magnify their dicks? Or?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Well, what are some other
That's
things?
the story, and I'm sticking to it.
What are some other things we think is stupid? I think it's stupid to believe in a young Earth, 6,000-year-old Earth. I think that's stupid.
Oh, can I ask why?
Yeah, I think I would say, because when it comes to what is going on in reality, which of course is going to be my based on my subjective ought, but because of what is going on in reality, so far as I can tell, our best way of investigating and looking into that is through the scientific method. And the scientific method has led us to a consensus that the Earth is 4.55 billion years old, around there, not 6,000.
Yeah.
Argument from authority.
It's not an argument from authority in any way that's fallacious. Yeah, this is interesting, because this is the same sort of argument that I have with ideas that I find to be absolutely just stupid things, specifically more recently with COVID, talking about like people who will unironically say COVID is a benign virus. It's like, okay, that is wrong by every single possible metric that we have been able to measure so far. Why do you think this? Because then, in the face of so much contextual evidence, just evidence in general, and I guess, circumstantial analysis that we can do as people, to have an idea like that, I would say, is stupid.
And to mention the access to information that people have one way or another.
Yeah.
And some we
agree.
It's true that some people may just not know, right? And they haven't been exposed to the right information. This is where, Dao Tzu rightly brought up the difference between ignorance and stupidity. I think it's important to differentiate between the two.
Yeah,
because I think it's very easy. I think it's very easy to point at like certain parts of the world where they're still struggling through third world tragedy, and say like and point at people as being stupid as opposed to ignorant, like, because there is a bit of a presupposition there that they had a chance to not be ignorant, but they turned it down. Now some do. And that's why I think it's important to look at that on an individual thing, not to just say that like, all Christians are stupid, all Muslims are stupid, just for the simple reason that they, I think that would be incorrect to use it in that way. But you can you could say, I think it is stupid to believe in the existence of a God based on ancient texts that claim to be divine, written by people who claim to be divinely inspired. I think that's stupid.
Right. Yeah, that contextual, I guess the circumstances matter a whole lot, especially when you're applying something that is, I guess, inherently malicious. Calling someone stupid is malicious, and saying they have a stupid idea. I guess I would want to pose the question to the room: do you believe that is malicious? Is that an attack?
I do not.
Think
so.
I don't think. No, I don't think so. I think in a lot of. I think I mean, if you over bully someone and just call them stupid repeatedly, but sometimes.
But GMO specifically, we're talking about not calling them stupid, calling their idea stupid. So if someone says something and then you're like, "Well, I think that's a stupid idea," and I'll tell you why. Like, would that be an insult?
Right. Is that inherently malicious?
And
I don't think it's malicious.
If you say it maybe the first time off Jump Street without understanding where they're coming from, not really.
Go ahead,
Delta. Or it would be. Yeah, it would be. But if they explain their reasons and they're somewhat coherent, and even though you think they have the incorrect information, if you then called them stupid, I think it could definitely turn into something malicious.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
But I think it's. Yeah.
Let's let Delta get in. Thanks, CMO.
Well, I think it's certainly overly confrontational, and it's not how I would phrase it. But we use the word malicious, which kind of implies intent. And I think there's a very easy way to call an idea stupid with no intent to hurt the person or offend them in any way.
I agree.
And you just blurt it out.
Yep.
I think that's very possible.
And then there's a way to do it in a passive aggressive way, which may really piss someone off.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Yes, the word stupid can definitely be misused in a malicious and insulting way, but I think it can also be used in a genuine, non-insulting way.
What's interesting is that the interpretation of that may be taken that way but of course the intent wasn't. So yeah, we get into the strange world of social apes there.
Yeah, so you could just avoid using the word in general, and just that way avoid the possible miscommunication there. You can say mistaken or wrong or incorrect, and just avoid the whole issue.
Sometimes I think Delta, like the Richard Dawkins approach of ruffling feathers with language, can make an imprint and can be very successful. So I think what we need to do, as opposed to trying to bend to people's reaction to words, we should start creating these fortresses within people when it comes to intellectual discourse that allows for them to hear words that they don't necessarily appreciate. Like they would choose different words, but still able to engage in a way where it doesn't affect the war of ideas in any real way.
That's where I think we have to step back and we have to realize that attacking anybody is showing your character, and I think it lessens your character. But if you attack an idea and you say that's a stupid idea, and if a person wants to take that as offense because they feel like they're calling themselves stupid, then I think that's a stupid concept in general as well. But still not calling the person stupid, unless you are truly having a really good relationship with somebody, and then you can say, listen, I think you're kind of stupid or in this area, or maybe you might be a stupid person. Then you can actually approach it from a loving concept and say, this is my opinion, I hope you take it seriously, and let's figure out how to get you smarter and all that kind of stuff. But other than that, attack the idea, don't attack a person.
Yeah,
that's just stupid.
Yeah.
Well, Graham, your chance on something. Attacking an
Guys,
idea.
I gotta run. It's been great.
All right, thanks, Don.
Take it easy, Don.
Don.
Always good to see you.
Later, brother.
Grim, it's a really interesting idea. Jordan Peterson and a lot of other people talk about like this concept of ideological possession. So I have done my fair share of calling ideas stupid, and sometimes people get really offended. And I think that just simply comes from them identifying their person as so intimately intertwined with the idea that you're attacking that they can't delineate between your attacking of the idea and attacking on themselves as a person. To them, it's like the same thing.
100%.
They can't associate like remotely.
Yeah, I think it's better for people to move away from that as opposed to bask in that.
I generally agree on. Yes, I generally agree. I feel like there could be a few exceptions, but that's about it. I think
Sure, and I'm not saying it as an ultimate rule. I'm just saying it's like better for us to move in that direction because, of course,
sure.
Some
Considering where we are now,
if saying worms or something to your grandmother who has a heart condition makes her have a panic attack, like that's a different scenario, right? So you probably
I do think that all of this almost requires a certain base level empathy that I don't know if everybody has as a general rule. That does sound well and good to be at the very least a little bit self-aware and aware of others around you. But what happens when their moral framework doesn't necessarily put the same sort of, emphasis on acknowledgement past oneself?
Well, I would say luckily the world, I think evolution drives the at least the social ape towards wanting to preserve well-being. And I think we even see in the UN when we have our first collection of like global rules, moral law, they tend to be focused around measurable well-being. So I think luckily that if that is at the foundation of moral structures we're seeing moving forward, I don't think that will be a problem, and individualism will soon reign supreme in the moral sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
About communication styles, I personally find when someone
is frank and upfront about their beliefs, and if they're debating someone and they say, I think that's total hogwash and here's why, when they're more frank about it, when they try to capitulate less. I mean, of course you have to concede a point on certain things, but I find that much more persuasive than people who, especially in a debate scenario, they take a hard stand, especially if they have their logic and reasons followed out, then I find that much more convincing. And it's a lot. And I think people have this idea that it's going to turn people off, and maybe it does turn certain people off. But I don't see a reason to, like, you know what I mean, like soften or put nerf on your ideas,
I
and
agree.
that brings us to the inherent value of these type of discussions, because when I try to have discussions like this, like, I'm from Georgia, and like if I try to have discussions like this with people, like my family, or people automatically, they're not approaching it from the same mindset. They're approaching it from, like, people identify with ideas and certain things. It's an identity. It's based on their identity. So any attack on the idea is perceived as an attack on them as an individual. But when you learn in these philosophical conversations and debates and so forth, that is just meaningless white noise, and it really means nothing.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't mean anything.
Yeah.
And
I was just going to add to that, along what you're saying about going out and trying to have conversations like this with people who are not used to looking at their own ideas. Most people out there, I would say, have not even decided whether it matters to them what's actually true or not. Yeah, and that's astounding. You eventually do have to get to that point if you're going to dare to see where you might be believing incorrect things about reality, or incorrect things about yourself, or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, people are too busy, and they're like, all that smart, the anti-intellectualism. They're like, I'd rather get this money and not think about shit. But I don't know, teach their own, I guess. But
yeah, it's really interesting to see how people handle ideas that are very much foundational and core beliefs. Like, I thankfully worked in sales long enough to know how to cater arguments and how to, I guess, do the best that I can to make sure that whatever I'm saying is received at least marginally well. Luckily, in this Discord, I don't have to temper things nearly as much as you do in the, I guess you could say, in the normal world.
Right.
But it is very, very common with everybody, no matter how free and open-minded they think they are, to have to organize and, I guess, deliver your ideas in a way that doesn't immediately offend everything they are. Because let's say someone holds a stupid idea. There are absolutely times where if you say something even unintentionally offensive, but that is offensive, you absolutely have shut down all credibility and all ability to communicate with that person for the rest of time, basically. I found it really interesting to talk to people who are big into conspiracy theories, because real often those conspiracy theories and that sort of mindset is foundational. It is very much at the core of their very identity. So when you start pointing out, hey, this might not be true, or you might be, taking too many leaps in logic here, all of a sudden it becomes this crazy thing that they have to defend.
Right.
So it's kind of like walking through a minefield, and being able to cater those ideas, or cater your ideas to them, is a skill set that I do think we need, no matter how stupid the original idea is.
I would say that you are messing with people's axioms, which is hard because that's how they foundationally justify their meaning and sometimes purpose. But it will never be easy because you are not there to change their minds. Change comes from within when you dealing with that. And so when you do shake their tree, quote unquote, it's kind of necessary. Because everybody should feel that way. If they didn't care about their lives, then you would be met with more of an easement. And if you met with somebody who is truly just humble to the most regards, which is a rarity, then they might be like, you know what, you're right. That totally makes sense, and I'll look into that, and they might be nice and kind. Other than that, your ego has to protect their axiom. A good, healthy ego will do so, but because you rattled them, they're going to think about it later.
Hey, I just like to say I really appreciate the direction this conversation took, but unfortunately I gotta go now. I think it's really unfortunate that I gotta go up earlier tomorrow, and it's almost 1 a.m. here. So
yeah, thanks for stopping by.
Take it easy,
Gelbrecht. Really appreciate it.
Yeah,
thanks, man.
I'll be back next time.
Okay, cool, dude. Yeah, I think at this point I want to move us. We can jump down to the TAV. Thanks to everyone